Hello, what's good? It's Corpse. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that again. I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things because I'm really mega super bad at doing intros and knowing what to say on the spot. So these are the things that I should have said but didn't, and therefore I'm attaching this pre-recorded message that says them properly. So first off, this was recorded last Saturday, April 24th, so some of the anime we talked about might have put out a new episode, and also Saturday is the day where a lot of episodes came out, but we didn't have time to watch them. I don't think this would have changed our opinions all that much, but there are some anime that had a big episode like 86 that would have been worth mentioning had we seen it, so if it seems like something was weirdly left out, that's why. Second, Japan has declared a state of emergency until May 11th due to, of course, the coronavirus, and I don't know what this will mean for anime going forward. Obviously, health and safety take priority, and we wish the best for everybody. It's worth mentioning because, it could have some consequences. Some think we're in for some delays that are similar to last year, but who can say? It's a difficult situation, and we'll just have to adapt to it. But let's talk about some fun stuff. We have a great guest on this episode, Mason from the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. It's a serendipitous collab because recently one of our members, Shocking807, was on that podcast talking about Ghibli films. So much love to them. If they're a fantastic podcast, please give them a listen. And finally, we still have our partnership with HIDIVE, the anime streaming platform with tons of subs and dubs available in HD. Now, unfortunately, they don't have any good simulcasts this season, which I know is the main selling point for platforms these days. It's what we always promote. But they still do have something really worth your time this season. They have saved Nana from licensing hell after over a decade, and they are rolling out a brand new sub and dub for it. Nana is a terrific series. We've recommended it on this podcast for a long time, so we're stoked that it's finally available in a legitimate way. That's our backlog recommendation for this season. Thank you so much, Sentai and HIDIVE, for doing this. And you can use the URL hidive.com/LP/RA2020 to get 30 days of HIDIVE free and watch one of the best romance and music anime of all time. Alright, sorry if this was a little long, but the rest of the podcast is proportionally way longer, so I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Thanks for listening, and also baseball's back, so go Royals. Tutaru mofos, welcome to the Our Anime Podcast, and today we have another special episode, another really exciting episode, because this is going to be a really great discussion. We're talking about the spring 2021 season of anime, and there is I know we've been saying this for like the last 2 seasons, but it's like post-COVID, we've been getting so many great anime, and we're really excited to talk about it. And today it's me again, Maz. I'm hosting, and oh my god, it's the same lineup as last time. We've got Sinris.
Holy shit! It's me. It's Sinris, back again.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back. And
breaking my streak for the first time in like 3 years of only being on every other season.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna be on for a year straight.
And also we have Panic.
Hey everybody, it's me, your boy.
It's the Coronel. The Corona Panic. And today, our special guest, this is a really exciting guest I'm sure you're going to love. It's a crossing of worlds, so to speak, a dramatic, epic, ambitious crossover with the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We have Mason.
Hello there. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me. I'm so stoked to be on this podcast. I'm so stoked for this new season, and I'm so stoked to make some new friends and enemies with my unsolicited opinions that are, objectively correct, but I'm really glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
True. Yeah. We're stoked to have you. Thanks so much for being on.
No. This is kind of like one of the big Chungus episodes you guys put out, and I'm just so pleased to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So let's just get right into it because we have so much to talk about. And this time we're going to go alphabetically. Just because I feel like that'd be easiest to follow along with the season. And we're not even going to start with the alphabet. We're actually going to start with some numbers, some good old numbers. The 2 digits 86. That's the title of the first anime we're talking about.
The 6th season of Skate the Infinity.
Skate-86.
We got Skate-86.
A lot has changed since the original.
Yeah, it's they're not even skating this time. What the heck?
Well, neither did they in season 2. They were snowboarding.
Mm.
Yeah. It all changed after Carla became sentient and wiped out humanity in season 4.
All right, so what is 86? I haven't seen it. I've just seen a lot of people talk about it.
Oh.
I've seen
You
pictures,
haven't.
pretty pictures.
Well, I guess to start off, just what it's about. It's about this country, I guess, this kingdom known as San Magnolia. Sorry, and
Yeah. Good name for a fake country, by the way.
yeah, it is cool. And
As in sand, or is like San Francisco?
As in like San Francisco or San
Sans Undertale.
Nice. It's
So they pride themselves as being equal and diverse, except everybody looks the exact frickin' same.
Well, that
and
is
they
equal.
are at war with another kingdom, and they pride themselves as fighting this war with no casualties because they have these unmanned drones fighting in this war. Well, it turns out that San Magnolia has 85 different districts, but there is a secret 86th district, which is made up of all these people
Get out
that
of
they
town.
basically...
Holy shit, it's the
Crazy,
title.
right?
Yep.
Title drop,
the
yeah.
front door.
That's what they did on these people, because the 86th district is made up of all these people who have been outcasted, essentially. They're all these different races that are deemed inferior, if you catch my drift. And
Anybody who doesn't have silver hair and eyes.
yes. And
That
so
is a good
these
look.
these are the people who are actually piloting these quote-unquote unmanned drones.
Well,
because
people, subhumans more like it, please. Know
Yes,
your
Yeah,
because-
place.
they're not people.
Because they changed the law to say that the inhabitants of this district are not actually human. So therefore, it's a bloodless war. Nobody gets to die.
I feel like there's some subtext going on here. I can't quite parse it.
It's not to get political or anything, but
Please help me, Mozilla Fennekin-san. What is this?
Well, I just told you what it is.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Racism the anime.
Honestly,
Great.
like, saying the show has subtext, I feel like is being a little generous to it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's actually trying to say anything at all by
86,
this. It's
more
just
like
your
racist.
it's like your shitty dystopia YA novel
Mhm.
premise.
Just Maze Runner all over.
Yeah, basically. The show's not bad though.
No,
Yeah.
I've been seeing people praise it without really being specific
the
about it.
battle scenes
so,
are really
like,
cool.
what's even good? All I see is like this Esdeath looking chick in thigh highs and silver hair, and I'm like, well, I can see why it's good though.
It's essentially Esdeath plus like all of Iron-Blooded Orphans to just like with mech warfare. Like, so this is done by A1 Pictures, and it is one of the better looking shows this season. It's got like pretty competent CG, like really good environments, and of course you can't discount the fact that it has a Hiroyuki Sawano soundtrack. So like that
Sawano.
alone just makes it just based.
Panic, do you know who that is?
That's a familiar name. I'm not sure.
Attack on Titan, Kill la Kill, like every big AMV drop you've heard over the past 3 years has been done by this guy. So
At this point in the episode, I am gonna ask Moss to edit in a collection of Sha shitting on me that I have made for getting this question wrong in a Jeopardy episode.
oh no.
All MA for 300. MA has collaborated with multiple times. It's also known for his local project with Suffix NZK. And his soundtrack titles are basically called like UC Big Girl TT.
So we gotta redeem Panic. But Panic really did fuck up. Like, he did not know the composer for Attack on Titan. When we have an Attack on Titan stream,
Panic also didn't know who Hiroyuki Sawano is. Boom, roasted. All right. Thank
how
you.
is this still on us, Rob?
yeah, Panic missed Hiroyuki Sawano on a trivia
And I
question,
don't-
he
and I don't-
he has paid the price
and I
ever
don't
since.
think I'm being fairly shit on, because the question wasn't
Yes, you
Sawano. It didn't mention Attack on Titan. It
No,
said who
Panic
is the
is
composer,
extremely
known for
valid
weird
by
song
this.
titles such as, and then I was supposed to know Sawano. I don't know names.
Yeah.
Didn't even mention Attack on Titan,
Panic is
but then
valid.
afterwards it's just like, oh, what a fucking idiot.
Well, anyway,
What
yeah,
asshole.
Sawano's on this. A1 is definitely giving it like their big budget A1 Pictures treatment. So, yeah, they're treating it like a major show, which is fair because 86 is a very popular, very successful light novel. I've known about this for a few years, and I actually have the first volume physically. I haven't read too much of it. I only read the first couple of chapters, which is all that the first episode covered. So that's as far as I've gone. But anyway, yeah, I know 86 because for years I've seen it on like the best-selling light novel charts in Japan, and it always stood out to me because you have all these super long titles with 86 syllables, and then you just have 86 as one of the titles.
86.
And I'm just like, wow, okay, what's this?
But
what's
then
this
how am I
thing?
supposed to know what happens in it if the title doesn't say exactly what happens in it?
Yeah, exactly. That's why everyone's buying it, because they don't know what it is.
And this has also been announced for 2 core, right?
It has. It's
Yeah.
been announced for a second core.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be a straight 24-episode show, and then it got COVID-ed. Because this was actually supposed to start in fall, I believe. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, like To Your Eternity?
Yeah. Oh, was that also a fall 2020 show?
Yeah, it was supposed to be last season, got pushed back.
Damn.
Bruh.
That's why this season is so stacked, because it all got pushed to
Everything
hair.
got delayed
Yeah.
by 6
Yeah,
months.
everything got moved. Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, this show, it hasn't really done anything interesting or exciting yet, I think, but it looks really cool to watch. I'm really impressed by all of the battle scenes.
Mhm.
And the characters are good enough for not really having time to develop at all.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of the
I
season.
could pick it up. I mean, I'm not completely disinterested. I might check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first episode, and full disclosure, I think by the time Mason, have you seen more than one episode?
I've seen the first 2, and the first episode
Okay.
throws a lot at you, and kind of you're left in the air of like, I kind of get what's going on, but it's not too well realized. Episode 2 takes a step back and further like flushes out everything. So I would say
Yeah, I definitely
give
agree
it
with
both
that.
episodes to get the true palette of it.
Well, I have to say that because apparently episode 3 came out today, I think, and apparently it was a bit of a bombshell.
Oh, awesome.
So apparently the plot's really kicked
Like
off.
literal
so
bombshells, because I believe it.
I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I've
sure.
seen people. I'm not sure, but I've seen people be like, "Oh my god, 86 is crazy." So
I
yeah, we
believe
haven't
it.
gotten to that yet. I also believe it. I'm sure that this novel holds up. I mean, like on Mal has a lot of people reading it, and it's funny enough, it's rated 8.68. So
Fucking
it's
incredible.
literally rated 86. So yeah, and
That's awesome.
the first episode was like fine, nothing really wrong with it in my opinion. It also didn't impress me, but it also wasn't necessarily trying to. I don't think it tried to do anything that was like super amazing. It was like just kind of here's what the show is essentially, like here's what you're getting into. So it was fine for a slow start, and I like how they're not directly telling you everything. Some of it is like you just kind of have to piece it together yourself, like the people of the 86 and Say in Magnolia. Like they don't outright state, how this all happened, but it's like you can tell what's going on.
Oh, they do just
They
outright
do
state
that in
the second
episode 2.
episode.
And then if you thought the whole like class
Like
divide
they
thing,
literally
Well-
have like a guy standing before a classroom lecturing about the history of how this
Oh,
happened.
great.
before S-Death is just like, everyone is racist except for me because I'm the main character.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay,
Oh, yeah.
a little heavy-handed, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has like YA like dystopia novel vibes to it, wherein, the society is just terrible for like absolutely no good reason.
hmm
Like they just set up this ridiculous system with no justification for it.
Well, yeah.
And the main character is like the only good person in the world.
Yeah.
But, that's just how it is sometimes.
like,
That's
world
not a
sucks.
huge
Yeah.
strike
Why?
against it.
Don't think about that.
That is the one.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I kind of dislike about it. How she's just literally the only person ever who is actually treating the 86 like their people. It's like, I mean, it's a little. I mean, I guess this is true for a lot of light novels, but it is a little too black and white of a conflict. But
Like everybody is evil for no reason except for her
Yes.
who's good for no reason.
yeah, but that's also yeah. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say the world's a little strange because it's like futuristic warfare technology. Like all the technology in this world was pushed towards committing like atrocities, but like the cars are all retro, the computers are all like modern day with like the worst organized like desktops I've ever seen. Where people just have like
I'm glad you
folders
also
and
noticed that,
programs
'cause
just like
I did not notice that.
spewed all over.
Oh, was that from 86, that screenshot? Like, all the icons just in a pile?
just vomited on top of one another. It's hideous.
Ugh.
Oh my goodness.
Why? Why would you do that?
It's pretty good though. It's pretty good.
The world has evolved past the need for desktop icons. We don't need them.
Just right click and you okay, anyway, I'm done.
You
It's
could
a
sort
good
by
though.
grid.
Yeah.
You could just do it. It's a click.
But that the conflict is also that the main character is the handler for these 86, and she's now in charge of this sort of elite squad, I guess, that has apparently some soldier who has driven all of his handlers to suicide. So
Yeah.
it's like, so now there's a mystery of like, okay, what's going on with these guys? So yeah,
Interesting.
I guess that's all there is to say. It's like, so far we don't know too much, and we'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, it's a
Yeah.
But we like it.
yeah, but it's a good high profile series that I think will get more popular as it goes on. So yeah, pretty cool.
All right, let's.
All right,
Speaking of pretty cool,
speaking of
One down, 500 to go.
yes, speaking of pretty and cool, we have the next anime is Bishounen Tanteidan, which is Pretty Boy Detective Club, and it is one of my most anticipated anime of this season because it is the
definitely my most anticipated.
hell yeah, because it's the long-awaited reunion of Nisio Isin and Akiyuki Shinbo and Studio Shaft.
God,
and that is exactly what this show is.
you can feel it.
Yep.
Like, they never stop talking, and I don't know when they are actually saying things. I don't know what to take at face value. I don't know when they're just vomiting words for fun.
Yeah, so for anybody who's not familiar with all of the names that Maz just listed, this is Nisio Isin property, who is most famous for
Junie Tyson.
Yes, for Junie Tyson.
He also wrote a little-known series.
At least among us, but among the general public, he's best known for Bakemonogatari and the rest of the Monogatari series. He also did Katana Gatari and Kubikiri Recycle.
Medaka Box.
And a couple other things, Medaka Box. But notably, he has returned to once again be working with Shaft Studios, which is the same studio that made Monogatari. And this is a match that's absolutely made in heaven.
Yes.
Like, the way their styles mesh together creates some nuts shit. And Pretty Boy Detective Club is really making me feel the old days when the new Monogatari was coming out like every other season and everything.
Yeah. I was so just mad last year when they did what was that freaking show, Assault Lily Bouquet, because it was like that show just had like no identity. And I love Shaft and how even if it's not specifically Shinbo, like you can tell his influence just spreads all over the studio with a show like Magia Record, which he didn't even direct, but it's like it's clear that they still do all the stuff where it's like all the really fast cutting and just the odd perspectives and angles and movements. They just maximalize every single shot and every line of dialogue, and yeah, it's great to see that once again.
Yeah, it's interesting too because Nisio, his two like most successful anime projects were the Monogatari series and Katana Gatari, neither of which are actually very close to what his core style is, which is that at heart he's very much a mystery writer. And you start to get some of that later on in Monogatari once Ogi shows up and starts doing her detective thing and all that. But like almost everything else that he's written that hasn't been adapted is like pretty much exclusively mystery detective stuff. And Kabuki Recycle was kind of like that, but that show is weird and it only actually adapted like the first novel out of like 30 or something crazy.
It's good though. It's good. Please watch it, people.
It is good
things.
So I'm really excited to see one of these be given like the full treatment.
So, question, you say that, so is this actually gonna be a detective show?
It is a detective show.
Because so far they've just been fucking around.
Well, I mean,
Well, rule number 3 of the Pretty Boy Detective Club is be a detective.
Be a detective.
Yeah, but I don't know if they actually mean that. It's Nishio Isin, it's Shaft. I don't know what the fuck they're when they say actual things. Be a detective. Well, so far they haven't really detected anything. They're looking for a star, which seems awfully abstract.
Did you watch the second episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
When
they
they
found
say
the
it's a
star.
fucking space station that got blown up by a
It's
nuke.
military satellite
Did
that
they
got blown
mean
up by a
that?
nuke.
Is that real? Is that the truth? Is that what I'm supposed to go with being the solution?
You know, I think what
Possibly.
you've kind of got to do with Nishio's writing is you have to accept everything at face value
Yeah.
until given a reason not to.
Okay.
But the reason not to believe things is not spelled out.
But the
way
reason
that
not
the
to
things-
believe this is because it's ridiculous
Yeah.
and highly unlikely.
Our boy Smurf
Right.
had a comment on Twitter. He I think he dropped the show and he said everybody is really stupid and they all talk like they're really smart. And I'm just like, bro, you just described Nishio Isin's entire catalog.
Yeah.
They're all a bunch of dumbasses, but they're pretty. So
The way Nishio Isin writes is he puts like 4 rugs on the floor, and he just waits for someone to stand on top of them and just continuously pulls them out one at a time. Like, he just sets you up to be tricked by him later on, so you feel like it's big brain writing when it's really not, but it's part of like the sense of you can never really trust what's going on. I believe they're going to get into more serious mysteries. So far, they've been very whatever, like very weak setup. So I would say this is the weakest of his installments, but I just love his style and Shaft's style, and when they come together, it's usually good. So even though I wasn't sold on it, I'll probably keep on watching.
oh
Yeah,
same.
it's like dazzle camouflage, right? Like he just throws so
pocket
much
sand.
at you. Yeah. he
Pocket
throws
stars.
so much shit at you that the trick is trying to like parse through it all and figure out like what is actually important out of what's
I would love
being
for some of
said.
the scenes to like breathe for a second and let me think about it.
No.
It's just like nonstop. It's like that weird. It sounds insulting to call it PowerPoint, but it was like flash, 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 like a bunch of very static scenes. But they look pretty and they're well animated. But it's just it just keeps going. It never stops.
I mean, the joke is definitely like with Monogatari, like basically every episode of Monogatari is 2 people standing in a room talking for 15
And the
minutes.
camera just flashing all around.
And then it cuts to 2 other people standing in a different room and they talk for 15 minutes and then the episode ends.
Yeah.
And yet,
And then I have
Like-
fucking headache. I
And
can't
it's
take
Kino.
it.
and yet it's the second best-selling anime of all time
Yeah.
because of the style and presentation
Those are
and everything.
cute girls.
And
It's all because of Hanekawa.
and because it is like legitimately an incredible story that's all kind of hidden underneath everything else. And I think that's like what makes this pairing so good is that it makes like what could be a very dry, uninteresting sort of narrative totally spruced up to be engaging enough just to watch
Yeah.
happen to you until the payoff eventually
Well, I
hits.
am certainly engaged, and I'm going to keep watching it because I am interested.
I mean, speaking of headaches, though, they constantly are doing these like hallway scenes
Oh my god.
with like CG, and I get
Oh,
like
okay,
motion
I don't like
sickness
this.
watching them.
where
The camera's like colliding
the room
into like
signs go by
signs.
overhead. Yeah.
Oh, that was a little rough, but overall,
Okay, yeah,
like
I don't like those.
it looks pretty nice. I'm a little bummed that the opening isn't Leggy Blonde by Flight of the Conchords. That said, who's the best boy? Who's the prettiest of the bunch? I'm
The
asking you.
prettiest.
I like Leg Boy. Bicycle Leg Boy. Whatever
He
his
just has
name is.
nice
who, like,
legs. That's
He's
it.
got these
Who, like, raises his
impossibly
hands
long,
with his legs.
shiny legs.
Yeah. It's
he's
between
killing it.
either Leg Boy or the white-haired T-Boy for me.
Also good.
Okay, he's not bad. He's not bad. The guy who, low-key maybe a pedophile, and you're like,
Apparently, well, that's again,
that's
it's
a little
like,
more off-putting than it is eccentric.
Well,
like I
again,
know
they're like-
Nishio Isin, but
oh, if you get over the fact that he's a pedophile, he has a first grader girlfriend, and then he's like, well, it's an arranged marriage. Who do I believe? Ask the viewer, who do I believe?
Yeah, it's like they start talking about like his relationship, and you're just like, wow, that sounds really bad, and then it just gets worse.
Well, if it's an arranged marriage, it's not really his.
It's definitely not as bad as in Monogatari, because they do say it's an arranged... I took it as he's in an arranged marriage and the other guys are just, like, teasing him about
that's
it.
also what I took away from it.
Also, the fact that, like, he's, like, 13. It's not like he's an adult.
Shut up. Look at him.
Well, yeah, true.
I think my favorite is actually the main guy, the blue-haired guy. Because my favorite part of this whole show so far was the sequence where they had to change their disguises. Because
oh yeah.
So the girl is she was the main character is a girl, and she comes to the detective club for help looking for the star. Anyway, she gets chased by like some mafia guys or something in the beginning of the second episode. So they're trying to help out her case, and then to avoid this happening, they change her appearance so that she looks like a pretty boy. And then the main guy is like, God damn it, she's too hot now. So now I have to be a hot girl so that to accompany her, because otherwise it'll look weird
if this hot guy doesn't have a girlfriend.
Yeah. And then he becomes Hatsune Miku.
Oh yeah, he does.
Alexa, play Ouran High School Host Club's opening, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, and apparently the main girl is voiced by the same girl from Ouran High School.
Oh yeah, Maya Sakamoto.
Yeah, it's
the same
Sakamoto
dude.
Maya.
Yeah, perfect casting.
It was funny in like the opening scene where it's just like her silhouetted, like monologuing. I actually thought that it was the blue-haired boy from the posters because Sakamoto Maya's voice is just that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of deep. No.
Yeah, I'm liking this.
Also, I love the OP. Any OP with like a
Yes.
fun little dance in it is...
Oh, yes,
yeah.
the OP fucking slaps.
Sumiga?
Yeah.
This is
It's the
second...
Wotakoi band. It's the...
It's the same band who did the Wotakoi OP. I guess they just make music for anime characters to dance
like
to.
They have one tempo and it's bop.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like them. They're good.
I love a good rotoscope anime dance. It's great.
Yeah, this is a solid series. I actually I kind of agree with what Mason was saying, which I don't know if this is the weakest Nisio Weezing because I haven't seen all of his works, but I wasn't invested in the mystery of the star because I'm like, all right, well that's pretty stupid. But at least the characters are all charismatic and fun enough where I love, like, Shinbo is my favorite director and his style is my favorite in anime, so I'm just, at least engaged with it on a moment-to-moment basis, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's like, as a mystery writer, like, Nisio mysteries are not the kind of thing you go to, like, to figure out the mystery. That's definitely not the case because he just, like, can't write scenarios that make sense to a normal mind. So you'll never know where his brain is going. You're not going to be able to, like, try to get ahead of the curve and figure out the truth. It's never going to happen. One of his other things I've read, the Notebook of Okitigami Kyoko, is very similar, sort of. The premise of that one is the main girl is a detective who, like, forgets everything every time she falls asleep. So she, like, writes notes to herself everywhere in order to, like, remind her who she is upon waking up and everything. And the premise is that she has to, like, figure out all of the mysteries within a single day before she falls asleep and forgets all the progress and everything. But it's a very similar sort of thing where the mysteries themselves don't really make any sense.
Yeah.
They're just kind of a vehicle for the weird character interactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
Well said.
Pretty good.
All right.
Also, I'm convinced Okitigami Kyoko is a future Hanekawa, but that's a different subject.
That's
That's a whole nother podcast.
yeah, that's an episode for
whole other
another day.
podcast.
Oh, fuck.
Well, now we need to move on from that, and we need to move to Your Eternity.
Speaking of future...
Yeah, so this next one is Fumetsu no Anata A, which is one of the most hyped seasonals that I think we've gotten in a while, aside from Shonen Jump stuff, because this is the mangaka of A Silent Voice. This
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is what she's been doing since The Silent Voice ended.
That has been the entire reason for this being hyped. No one knew what the fuck it was, but oh my god, it's the writer from...
and not just that, but also, just frankly, if you have Utada Hikaru for your OP, like, you aren't fucking around. Like, you cannot get Utada Hikaru if you're just making some random seasonal. Like, you have to be, like, a huge title.
Is that the guy from Attack on... No.
That's the...
Yeah.
Sorry. It almost got me there. Almost did a big bamboozle. But no, yeah, I'm a manga reader of this.
Ooh.
And huge fan of the manga. Similar to, like, Witch Hat Atelier, where it's like the art in this is so amazing that I'm a little cautious on, like I know the anime won't be able to capture that into... There's just too much details there, but overall, you know, Brain Space, they've been a bit on the skids. You know, they're not firing on the same cylinders of when they were making, like, Penguin Drum or Inspector, but honestly, I think this looks pretty good.
I feel like they've been getting a little better lately.
Huh. They're hit or miss, but it really does capture the beauty and the brutality of nature as one. OP is very spoilery, so this is probably one of the ones where I'd say skip it.
I had a feeling about that, so I kind of skipped through it.
I'm glad I totally zoned out while watching it.
It's one of those things where it, like, flashes a bunch of images of, like, what is to come, and you're like, okay, I'm clearly going to see all this. Yeah, exactly. And you're like, jump a 1 minute 30 seconds. Don't mind if I do. But episode 1 of this is absolutely killer.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Just really a tone piece that sets up a just atmosphere for the story to come.
It was fucking heartbreaking. It was like 20 minutes.
Definitely the best first episode of the season.
It's insane.
I might agree. Yeah. That's an episode that can kind of stand out on its own as, like, a short film.
Yeah, it's like a short film. It just goes on its own.
Right.
Yeah. Second episode,
extremely powerful on its own, and really leaves you with no idea of what to expect from the rest of the show.
Yeah, that's another thing. But I'm excited because this is a very unique concept. It's about, like, I guess some sort of life force that has just appeared, and it just takes on the form of something around it. It says certain conditions have to be met, but they haven't explained. But anyway, it starts off as, like, a rock, and then it grows moss, and then a wolf dies next to it. So it takes on the form of the wolf, and then the wolf was actually the companion of someone who lived in the air, who lived on the land, and then he just follows this kid around for a little while. Then the kid ends up, spoiler for the first episode, but I'm going to assume you've seen it. The kid ends, and it's also predictable. The kid the kid ends up dying. So then he becomes the kid. He takes on the form of this human.
And just, like, sets off walking into the wilderness. And that's where the first episode
becomes
ends.
the cutest doggo in the world until it speaks, and then it's freaky as fuck. I did not like that at all.
Honestly?
Yeah, that was a little weird.
I don't know. For animals talking, I actually thought they did that pretty well, because it just said one word, and it came out like an animalistic noise, and they didn't do anything.
And then later it does
that.
like a whine, and it's the same, like, just wrong voice. It's just wrong. It's like, have you seen
it's pretty cool.
It's supposed to be alien, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have you
it's
seen,
definitely unsettling, but it's correct for it to be.
Annihilation, that Netflix movie?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay, then never mind.
Shot down.
All right.
I like the second episode a lot, too.
Yes.
You guys were talking about the production earlier. I would say that it doesn't really look notable visually one way or the other. The one exception I would say to that is the one scene where the little girl, like, finds his body as he's reforming.
Yeah, that was sick.
That looked sick. That was so good.
I think it looks better than most stuff does. It does have some moments where the wolf is kind of a goober in some scenes, but other than that,
at least we didn't get like Attack on Titan CG horse level animals. Like they did a pretty good job. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like episode 3, no spoilers, but is going to be like the big test of it visually when a little more action starts happening. Okay. We'll see how it holds up in movement. But so far, it's about the pacing, it's about the atmosphere, and it's kind of hitting those out of the park. So I'm very excited with it so far. Mm-hmm. And 20 episodes.
A lot of people will be annoyed with episode 2 because it's a lot louder because you have this really loud child.
Maybe. I like her though. She's sweet.
She's voiced by... No, I guess not. Damn. I thought she was voiced by Beatrice. From
oh god, her voice is nowhere near as bad as Beatrice.
She's a voice actor. Presumably she could do more than one.
I suppose.
So I was thinking she was doing like a kiddie version, but it's kind of shrill.
I also just want to point out from the manga Mal page, there is a manga character who has the best stupid anime name I've seen in a long ass time.
I already know what you're talking about.
Nikolai
Bonchien Nikolai La Tasty Peach Earlies.
Tasty Peach.
Looking like a snack.
He looks like he would call himself Tasty Peach.
Yeah.
Did someone catch, like, why did that one girl in episode 2 look like some kind of dystopian future hockey player?
What?
I haven't seen episode 2, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's this one lady with the weirdest outfit I have
the warrior
ever
who's
seen.
taking her to be sacrificed? I don't know. And she's got a weird anime armor.
She's got weird armor. And it looks weirdly futuristic while also being made of, like, wood. And then she has this black hockey stick for no reason. Is it?
All right.
I don't know. Her design caught me off guard. It looked goofy.
It is a weird design.
But speaking of the manga, and Mason said earlier, this is going to be 20 episodes. I wonder if this is going to be the full story, because I don't think this this mangaka doesn't really stick to one series for too long, because Koe no Katachi only went a few years. She did the art for Marduk Scramble, which only went a few years. And, it's been a few years since this started, so maybe the manga will end soon.
Yeah, it started in 2016.
Yeah. And 20 episodes is a very oddly specific number. Like, I don't know what else has 20 episodes specifically.
It's both seasons.
As a reader, do you think there's any chance it's going to end, like, before this is done?
I doubt it. So they've been doing about 2 chapters per episode, and this is a 14-volume manga, so
that's a lot.
They would need to really rush it along at the end, and as we all know with The Promised Neverland, let's please hope that that's not the case.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. If you need any other confirmation, let's just read the first top review on my anime list by Villa Isa or whatever. Yeah, I like it. This is the anime I've been waiting for this season. Yeah, I like it. This is the anime I've been waiting for this season. Yeah, you get it. It goes on for a while.
That's something I've been seeing a lot of on Mal reviews. Just copy pasting the same sentence.
That's always been a thing, but now that anime is getting more popular and its social media influencers like Critical have been shilling it. Now kids are joining it, so great.
Oh no, not kids.
I hate children.
Fucking hate kids.
My worst enemy.
Fuck them kids.
Oh, well, this person has seen all 20 episodes already, so we should
defer
to
their
their
opinion.
About.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you... What? 10 out of 10. All 20 episodes seen. 243 people found it helpful. What?
Welcome to my anime list. Anyway,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Let's move on. Next anime. This is one that I was looking forward to, based on at least the studios that are doing this. It's a collaboration between Bones and Orange, 2 of my favorite studios ever. It's Godzilla Singular Point.
This is mine. So this is the first anime version of Godzilla since the Gen Urobuchi and Polygon Pictures CG trilogy of films. Have any of you guys seen those?
I have not. It's weird how those were announced and people were like, "Wow, Urobuchi on a Godzilla film," and then I literally heard nothing about them.
Honestly, pretty solid. I'm not the world's foremost expert or connoisseur on the Godzilla franchise, but I was really sold on them. The CG looks a lot better than they did on Knights of Shidonia, so I would say if you're big into that franchise, don't sleep on that. But essentially, Godzilla Singular Point, it's 13 episodes, like we said, Bones and Orange. Essentially, it's Gintoki from Gintama leading a hodgepodge Ghostbusters crew.
Okay.
But instead of ghosts, it's kaiju. And it's a very fun show. It's all this weird technobabble. It's not very practical in that aspect, but it's a lot of bright colors. And it's more of a focus on the human characters than the monsters themselves, of which we haven't seen much over the first couple episodes. Think of a Saturday morning cartoon or SSSS Gridman or Gatchaman Crowds. That's the kind of vibe you should be going in, where it's just a good finger snapping fun time more than a dark, gritty Shin Godzilla-esque thing. So couple episodes in, have not yet seen the titular Godzilla, but it is fun. It does do the CG on the monsters, which I don't think look all bad. It kind of adds to that same like Gridman effect where it kind of calls out the tokusatsu roots. It kind of makes them look a little more off-putting and alien while still meshing with the environment. It's good. I've enjoyed it so far, so give it a shot if you haven't. I think it's technically in Netflix jail, though. So
Yeah, it's a Netflix.
So you just wait and binge it and have a blast.
Orange, can you please do anime that are not on Netflix? Please.
Guessing they got some money.
Oh, I hope they got some money. Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that the show looks good because I saw the trailer and the CG in the trailer looked bad, honestly, which is shocking for Orange.
Maybe Bonus did the CG and Orange did the 2D.
Big brain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, if you're like repulsed by CG just in general, this isn't going to change your mind. It's no Beastars or Land of the Lustrous, but it gets the job done.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. All right, this next one. This one has a bit of a long title. Let's see if I can say it. Hige wo Soru Soshite Joshikousei wo Hirou, aka I shaved, then I brought a high school girl home. Which is not
that's Higehiro.
Actually, that's not even accurate because he brings a high school girl home and then he shaves. So I don't know what they're getting at with this title.
Yet another thing to mark on this show's list of crimes.
No, wait. Didn't he shave before going on the date?
He shaved at one point in his life and then eventually brought a girl home.
That's
so
true.
maybe if you're going...
Yeah, that
Order isn't important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I missed what both Sinris and Panic said earlier.
Oh, I just said another thing to add to this show's list of crimes.
Oh. All right. Well, it's funny you say that because this is definitely the most thought it was going to be terrible and it's not show that I've seen in a while.
Yep.
Where it sounds like a complete disaster. What happens with the premise of the show is that there's just this ordinary guy working at an office has been simping this one girl for I think 5 years. And then goes on a date with her one time and then says, I have a boyfriend, lol. And then he just goes home drunk, meets this high school girl who's like just hanging out outside his house. And she's like, hey, let me sleep in your place. I'll let you have sex with me. And he's like, okay, but
oh,
also
it's this
no.
show. I was thinking it was the other show.
No.
Oh.
No, there's two very problematic
Okay.
shows, and this is the one that's not as bad.
Yeah, this one.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so this girl has been a runaway, and she's just been sleeping around just to get by, I guess. And so she comes across this guy who is actually like, no, you shouldn't be doing that, and is actually interested in, I guess, getting her life on track. And that's kind of what this show is about. It's surprisingly not bad.
It's surprisingly wholesome. I have read a lot of the manga, which is why I haven't watched any of it, because I'm just like, well, I've read this. I have read well past whatever this is going to cover. And yeah, it is surprisingly sweet and more like an office romance kind of going on, while he's getting her life back on track. A bunch of people from her past show up. And yeah. It's just like... kind of parenting for this, like being a guardian for this girl, knowing that if anyone finds out, he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
So
I
you
like
would
the
say
sound of that, actually.
Their relationship is less of the romantic subset and more of a, no, they know each other and are helping each other out kind of thing.
I mean, we should have sex, right? I mean, you can't just stay here for free. You can't just be nice for no reason. What the fuck?
They really test this concept where the girl's just like, bro, like you can like I don't care. You can literally just do whatever you want. And this guy's like, bro, have some respect for yourself. And it's like, oh wow. I actually felt weirdly proud. Well, not even weirdly. I just felt proud of this guy. I'm like, oh, he's actually a decent person. I didn't expect that.
An anime? A decent... No.
A light novel protagonist I like? What?
Girl, what is with you? What is you doing?
Yeah, I don't have much to say beyond just essentially what everyone in the entire world has said, where, oh, wow, it's not bad. Nothing about it, like, wowed me. It wasn't a show that I'm like, oh wow, this is a must watch of the season. Sorry, I just dropped something. But it's fine. It's a decent anime. It's like you know, the first episode was honestly the first episode could be something like Rent a Girlfriend minus 1 minute, where you could just watch the first episode and just be like, all right, cool, let's just leave it at that, because I don't really know what this will do to stretch out to 13 episodes. But so far, at least the first episode could stand out on its own as like a decent first episode, or just a decent standalone little story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Panic, is it gonna do one of those things like Harimia, where it has a plot for like a few episodes and then the plot is resolved and it just becomes slice of life?
I would say no. Like, you people keep like appearing. Either people from his office who's like suddenly they're curious why he's like calling and texting someone, and like, did he get a girlfriend? And people from her life keep like randomly finding her, and I think
End of the season, he has 7 people living with him.
yeah, no.
Becomes a shelter home.
I forget where I left off in the manga. But yeah, it keeps just like more and more stress and pressure keeps piling on.
Oh.
Because keeping her there is a ticking time bomb. Someone's gonna find out, he's gonna die. He's gonna go to fucking jail.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's decent.
Yeah. Speaking of going to jail.
Speaking of going to jail, okay, I guess we'll move on to the next one. What is the next one? Next one is
Nagatoro.
No, it's time, lads. It's time.
What the hell is this?
Ijiranaide.
Nagatoro-san.
Whatever.
It's Nagatoro, yeah.
Don't
Who cares
toy
what
with
the full
me,
title is?
Nagatoro. It's
Please crush my balls, Nagatoro-san.
It's an anime about bullying. Any objections
Yes.
to this?
No, I love it.
Yes, objections, please. No bully. I'm part of the anti-bully ranger task force.
But this
and
is like affectionate bully, you know?
I saw one episode. There wasn't shit that was affectionate about this.
Well, it becomes. Like, at first, she's just, like...
That sounds even
insane.
worse.
Well, sure. Okay. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I want to not have an opinion on this. Like, I saw the first episode and I treated it like Redo of Healer, where I just wash his straight face. Like, all right, I'm more just like, I'm thoroughly nonplussed by this series and more just amazed that people are actually into this, because I don't. It's one of those things where it's like
Panic is being extremely kink shamed right now.
I feel so attacked.
You deserve it. It's like a kid in class poking you with a toothpick behind your desk, and it's like, you want to say something because you're being annoyed, but also if you do say something, then they win. And you don't want them to win.
Yeah.
So I could be offended and I could rant about why Nagatoro-san is a blight against humanity, but I feel like that would be giving it too much credit, and I don't want to do that to it.
Okay, sure. I feel like anyone who has seen me and Becca go at it on the Discord knows that I like to affectionately bully people.
You are Nagatoro to
in
Becker's,
that relationship, I am
name is.
Nagatoro. Except Becker just says, "Oh, fuck off," and then I think he
And then
hates
leaves
me,
the Discord.
And then he leaves the Discord. He said it wasn't because of me, though. He DM'd me and said that. I don't believe it, though. No, I like to tease people. I mean, I don't beat them up. I'm not... Don't go around punching people and drink their tears like Nagatoro does.
Nagatoro-san might as well be about a Discord, because she says sus all the time.
Well, that's just like a timely thing. I don't think she did that in the manga.
Great work, fan subbers.
But I do love that,
not even
because she
fan subbers, official
absolutely would
subbers.
say that just to troll people and be obnoxious. I love that. It's like, I like picking up an obnoxious internet slang just to be annoying, even though I'm way too old for it.
I actually don't mind. The following statement has aged extremely fucking poorly. And I'm glad that people have actually been defending this, because I really don't want to have that same argument that people had last year, that I had with people last year with the freaking Kaguya line, where Miyuki said, "Hey, what's the deal with this social distancing?" And then people just flipped their freaking lid, and I'm like, Jesus, calm down. I'm glad we've kind of grown up, and she says sus, and now we're just like, oh yeah, kids.
And that's
say
when
this
you
shit
dropped
now.
it, and that's when you blocked me on Twitter.
Yes. See, it's okay when a kid says it. You are like 30.
Well, yes.
You cannot say sus.
Of course I can say it.
In fact, as this podcast, we used to say sus all the time, and we've had to remove it from our lexicon.
We have an
because of all
emote
these
just
kids.
called sus. That is Kana with a fucking magnifying glass.
Okay,
now-
I'm changing the name of that right now.
To suspicious, the full word. Like we used to say sus all the time, but it's been ruined. It's been killed.
Sus is canceled.
Sus is canceled. No,
I think the discourse on Nagatoro can best be summed up with something I saw someone say. I don't remember if it's someone in our Discord or someone linking a tweet or something that was like, everyone knows that Nagatoro is a show made for a very specific fetish.
Yes.
And yet people who don't have that fetish watch it knowing
That
they
was
won't
me.
like it
I
and
said
then get
that.
angry at
Yes.
it. Okay, that was you.
Make manga that appeals to a
Okay.
certain fetish. Knowing this, everyone decides to watch the anime anyway, even though they know it's not for them. Lol, wow, this is so bad. Like, what the fuck did you expect? You look at it.
The problem is that this got popular because it's popular on 4chan. So I've had to see this girl
'cause she's a troll.
everywhere for
She's
the
a big
last
bully.
4 years.
And bullying is fun when you're not an asshole about it. It's fun a little bit. It's a little bit fun.
My favorite thing to come out of this, though, is that one tweet someone made. It was at NFL Street 4, photoshopping Foghorn Leghorn into it, yelling at the boy.
Have some respect, boy. I say, I do declare.
The good news about this is Nagatoro has the same earrings as the kids from that 86 show, so she's likely going to be recruited into that war very soon.
Interesting, because I do.
That's true. She doesn't have silver hair.
That's the
so
only
she's
thing
not
I don't
human.
like about her design is that weird long, like cylindrical
Yep,
earring
that's
she
the
has.
one.
I don't like that one. it's so
What
extra.
the fuck is that?
I don't know. It's
Style, my dude.
it's character design gone too far. It's like they already had a good one, and then
Maybe this is what the kids are
much
into.
shit.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So, for what it's worth, I have heard that compared to the source material, they greatly toned down the
apparently.
severity of her bullying at the beginning, which kind of turns them both into losers in my mind, because this is like the most laziest, lowbrow bullying, teasing, and more just the fetishistic torment, which, if it's for you, great. If you're watching this because you're a masochist or you just love the repository of reaction faces,
Yes.
have a blast. But like anything beyond that is, I was kind of disappointed. Like the pacing, it just feels so plodding and empty. Like there's like a lot of room, at least in episode 1, like where there was like, they were trying to leave room for a laugh. And you're just like, am I supposed to think this is funny? Am I just supposed to think it's awkward? Like, I thought episode 2 was better, but it's not my thing.
I think
yeah,
I
Can
think
we
it
also
is
talk
better
about
as a
that one
manga.
horrible shot of her teeth.
What do you mean horrible shot?
She has the worst flesh
That
fang.
is some of the ugliest. No, not even
Her
flesh
real
fang.
fang.
I'll post this image that Panic posted
When she goes full vampire
a
mode.
couple of days ago.
She has confirmed actual vampire teeth, and it's great.
Yeah, she does. Look at this. Look at that.
at
It looks terrible.
Yes,
That's hideous.
that's
What
great.
the fuck?
I
That's
love
like
it.
Gleipnir level.
That's like
Just
one
like
of the
God,
worst
that is
looking
Gleipnir,
faces
holy
I've ever
shit.
seen in an anime.
That's
the-
why it looks so bad. It's Gleipnir again.
It's the vampire episode.
I mean, I would say if I had to put a thing and rating on this like whole like genre, I would say Takagi is the best.
Well, it's more wholesome.
Nagatoro is second, and like Uzaki is bottom tier. That's my trio.
I don't know if I like if I hate this more than I hate Uzaki. That's a tough debate.
It can't be worse than
I
Uzaki.
don't think that's
It
tough
can't.
at all.
It looks all right. Like for this season, for being a comedy, it looks mostly fine. Like they definitely could tell, like, hey, whatever we're about to put into animation is going to be memed and gifted and
Yes.
put on the internet for years to come. And they did take the time to do it
That's-
justice.
Our manga
is
has
true.
been going nuts with Nagatoro panels forever, and now we get
that's
them
true.
animated.
Uzaki anime looked fucking trash.
Yeah. I will say this is, like, I read a lot of manga. This is one of, like, kind of a wave of manga that I don't think has a name yet, which is, starts off as a really specific fetish thing, then trails off and becomes just bullshit slice of life rom-com. I think the last 10 or 20 chapters of this, because of course I'm caught up, There's almost no bullying at all. They're just like hanging out. Doing like
Nagatoro wants to hang out.
Yeah, she just wants a quiet life now, I guess. Like they do snowboarding, they do martial arts, they do all kinds of school things, and they're just like closer and closer to just being a couple now.
What do you think is the deal with that? Do you think that was like calculated from the start,
No,
or does
I think
the artists
just
get
run
bored
out
and
of
run
ideas?
Okay.
Because it happened. Because, I mean, I want to make, like, a big list of them, because I have noticed it in so many. Like, they'll start off with, one is like, this girl is, I don't know, she does everything with her feet. It's a foot manga. And then 20 chapters later, it's like, we taught her to wear socks. And now
is that a real thing, or did you
No, that is a real thing. There is a manga with a girl who, like, shakes hands with her feet and just does things with her feet for some reason. It's pretty cool.
I love the arms race of like stupid manga premises.
There's a lot of them, and there's a lot of them that are like really specific fetish stuff.
Yeah,
like,
and you see the same thing with isekai
a lot
too.
Of them
There's always like the new isekai that has the new like stupidest, most ridiculous gimmick out of any of them yet, because it's the only way you can.
And a lot
of
these are also just like, the girl is mean, or like the girl is a delinquent, but she has a heart of gold. And
I guess the genre is 4chan bait, because
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Takagi, Uzaki, and Nagatoro are all like huge 4chan.
Well, because they tease, because they're assholes.
And you can't exist on 4chan unless you hate yourself. So
that is completely true. Yes.
Man. Wow. Really makes you think.
Let's move on. Let's get out of here. You'll know if you like Nagatoro or not. You'll know if it's your kind of show. You don't have to listen.
If it's
to
for
me
you, it's
and
for
my
you.
asshole opinion.
If it's not, then shut up.
Yeah, fair enough. I
then
dropped
don't
it, so I'm not going to watch it. I'm done. All right. Next anime. I think Sinris is the only one who's seen this. But this is a bit of a...
Probably.
Yeah, this is a bit of
I've seen this one.
Oh, cool. Okay. So this is Jouran.
I watch everything. Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
There's so much of this this year.
Time?
I'm a full-time weeaboo.
Anyway, this is Jouran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. I hope I said that right.
All right. I had bad time management skills leading up to this episode. I didn't watch as much as I wanted to, and I'm upset that I watched 3 episodes of Jouran and 1 episode of some like actually good shows instead of 1 episode of this and more of literally anything else.
Yep.
Because that's not to say that this show is terrible, because it's not. But this is one that, like, when I was just pre-season going through the list of everything that was going to be airing, marking stuff that I thought looked interesting, this is one that I picked out as, like, I had a good chance, I thought, of being, like, sleeper hit of the season. And it's definitely not that. It reminds me more than anything else of that show from, I think it was fall 2019, to the Forgotten Sacred Beasts, but a little bit better than that, because that show was bad. It's like an alternate history sci-fi set in 1931 Japan, if like the Tokugawa shogunate never fell and they had some like magic super resource that gives them sci-fi technology, but everyone still fights with swords because it's anime. And the main characters are part of like a government assassination squad, but the main character is like secretly working against them to try to get revenge for her secret clan of magic ninjas being slaughtered by the government when she was a kid. And it's just extremely pulpy and way edgier than it needs to be. You think that sums it up, Mason?
Yeah, I think you hit on it well, where I too, when I was going through the seasonal chart, I was like, the promotional image looked really eye-catching. It has a very similar stylistic thing to your Sacred Beasts. And this show is like done by Bakken Record, some like new studio. And it seems like they just watched Demon Slayer and said, oh, let's do that. But they are not Ufotable.
Oh, I guess, it is actually pretty.
And they
Demon Slayer,
really just put all their effort into giving the show style, but they just don't have the resources for it, and there just isn't any substance behind it. Like, I only watched 1 episode, but it seemed very scatterbrained. Like, the show is constantly tripping over itself, trying to jump between this historical thing and this assassination plot and this mythological science weird superpower thing, and it just I can't quite tell where they're trying to go with it, and I think that they think it looks better than it does.
I think the first episode was very scattered and confused. Watching after the first episode, it made more sense, but didn't really get any better.
Gotcha.
It's not hard to follow what's happening. It's just that, like, I don't really care because it's all pretty contrived.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, just like way edgier than it needs to be for no reason.
Yeah, I was let down by this. It's not the worst thing, and if someone at the end is like, "No, what this show really turned it around, stepped its game up," I might revisit it. But it's the studio's Bakken record. Like, a name so close to like a broken record is not gonna cut it.
I will say I do like the way it looks. I think the style is definitely its strongest point, especially when the main character uses her like blue blood magic transformation. The style goes from being like polished hard lines and everything to getting like very coarse and gritty, almost kind of like the Mob Psycho scenes when Mob completely loses it. It's got kind of a similar aesthetic going on there, and then the show looks awesome. Those scenes are extremely sick, but it only lasts for like 30 seconds to a minute per episode.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all to say about this. It's fine. I'll probably keep watching it and report back.
Okay. Good to know.
All right.
This next one is the other questionable show that we were hinting at earlier. This is Koi to Yobu ni wa Kimochi Warui, aka
Story.
It's Too Sick to Call This Love, or a Koikimo.
Yes, the story of a man who follows his dreams.
Okay.
No, it's we all know it, right? You all know it.
No.
It's the story of a businessman who falls head over heels in love with a high school girl. She tells him to fuck off, and he does not fuck off.
Oh, that's right.
And that's why it's
I
problematic.
remember this from my preview.
Yeah.
But what if I told you that it's honestly kind of funny? I got curious because I heard from everybody that it sucks. And I have a feeling those people didn't watch it at all. They just read the synopsis and said, "Oh, this is bad." But then I saw that F likes it. Fuming F on Twitter. And I respect Fuming F. And I was like, well, there's probably something to it. So I checked it out. And it's weirdly not as off-putting as it should be. It's treated more like, the classic Japanese comedy thing with the bumbling idiot and the straight man. It's kind of treated like that, where like he will find crazier and weirder ways to show his love, and she will shoot him down like deadpan. And kind of the comedy of the whole thing comes from the absurdity of it. It is not presented as a good thing. It is presented as a, wow, isn't he kind of weird? Haha. And everybody kind of like teams up with him in it. It's like his sister goes to the same high school as the girl. What the fuck's her name? Ichika, that's her name. They go in the same class, which is why they meet up again. Way back to the beginning. The guy is shown waking up in like some stranger lady's bedroom. Like he has just had sex with this lady. He doesn't even remember her name. He is shown as being completely like emotionally detached from the world.
Dude fucks.
So he goes to work. He's like a businessman guy, blue suit, tall, blonde, looks like the guy from Kaguya, Shirogane.
Well, that's why her name is Ichika.
Yes. At the subway station, he almost...
Good work, guys.
Got him. At the subway station, he almost slips down the stairs and falls. But this guardian angel, high school girl, saves him. And then she's like, "You look tired. Have you eaten?" And he says, "No." And, "Oh, here, have my lunch." And he's like taken aback by, wow, such kindness. It's like the scales fall from his eyes. For the first time ever, he is like touched by the actions of another person. And then, she's gone forever. Oh, he gets home later that day. Oh, It's his sister's friend. How do you fucking know? Yeah. I mean, I don't really... Maybe... Do you have any questions? I don't know where to start.
When you describe it that way, I believe that it's not as bad as the premise.
It is not as bad as the premise sounds. He is being forceful, but they also do just meet up like randomly every once in a while. Sometimes his exes will meet up with him and be like, "Oh, look at her, that poor little thing. She's so boring. Why don't we hook up again? Fuck her." And he's like, First of all, how dare you? No, so the guy is like, everybody loves him. Every girl that sees him is like instantly in love with him, except for her, which also has a bit to do with his obsession, I think. He has never been told no in his life. He just gets his way every time. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe we should just start dating." And then she's like, "No." And he's like, "I didn't even know this was a possibility. What do I do now?" I have to shower her with gifts.
Okay, so it's not really about, like...
I think a lot of people
their
have...
relationships as much as it is just, like...
I think a lot of people have
ridiculing the idea.
Have the impression that it is like a story like glorifying as being a predator or something. I feel like that's people's takeaway. It's not. To me, it also changed my perception a lot when I found out it was written by a woman.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because now, in my eyes, it changes the fantasy from preying on a young girl to the optics of the girl being, for some reason, like the main focus of the richest, hottest guy in town.
That's interesting.
It becomes more of a 50 Shades of Grey kind of thing. Where, for some reason, this plain Jane nobody is just like the main focus for this guy who could have everything, but he wants her.
Right.
I mean, I guess I get that, and to be fair, I have only watched one episode, but, like, she's constantly, like, calling him creepy, like, grossed out by him, like, After the Rain is pretty solid, and that had, like, the age gap and some weird dynamics, but, like, this ain't it. Like, the characters, the personalities weren't charming or engaging, and I get that if it's supposed to be, like, a play on that trope and, like, see how bad this looks, it'll actually get better. Like, sure, I guess I could believe that, but just, to me, anime has such a hard time with solid, good relationships, and when they begin on such a rocky character dynamic, I guess I'm very skeptical. So I guess, salute to people who stick with it. Maybe it'll turn it around, and I'll give it a shot then. But I definitely fall into the camp, and maybe I just judged too soon of it being not a good look.
I mean, yeah. Like, on the face of it, if you just boil down what is actually going on, it is a bad look. But I feel like there is some comedy going on here, and I don't know. For me, it works.
To each his own. I mean, we got some people who like Nagatoro in here, so...
Shit. Maybe I just like problematic things. God damn it.
I'll meet in the middle and say that I'll believe you if you say that this is better than it seems. I also have no interest in watching this whatsoever.
Absolutely. Like, I wouldn't blame anyone for being turned off by the premise at all. But...
Oh my goodness, is anime made for different demographics and people?
Say it isn't so.
Never say that to me again.
I also hate the way these characters look. This is a horrible style.
The look is.
If this came out like 20 years ago, I would be okay with it.
It looks very old school in some regards.
What is it, Studio Nomad or something?
It is Studio Nomad. They did, which is the Joshikousei Dropkick studio. But I don't know.
Speaking of Nomad, we will get to that later.
Bum, bum,
yeah, that's not actually next, but
yeah. Next up, I wrote the list wrong. I put it out of alphabetical order. Hang on. Is there a cat near me?
Fuck.
Whatever.
Ruined.
Anyway, Mars Red is the next show.
Oh, that's me.
I haven't even heard of this one.
I've heard this title thrown around. People were excited for it.
I was not excited for this show at all because looking at the promotional art, it looks like the most generic sci-fi, edgy, bland, whatever show you could possibly imagine.
With vampires.
And with vampires.
Oh, yes, vampires.
And I had no knowledge going into it. I just queued up episode 1 and said, I wonder how long it will take me to drop this. It's not bad,
Now you'll love
actually.
it,
It's done by Signal MD. Listen, I'm a big proponent of going into shows pretty much as blind as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Same.
it tells the story of like this vampire, not infested, but they're starting to become a nuisance, a problem in like the 1920s in like a European-esque inspired Japanese town. And essentially they're becoming more prevalent, and either humans get bit, and most of them, like 90% of the time, immediately just like die and just get decimated and ripped. But a few will actually turn into a vampire, and they will either go on being, a renegade vampire that ruins people's lives, or get recruited into this like new hot upcoming military division that is kind of using vampires as a force for good in some way. And it's very much a story about people kind of learning and accepting their condition of vampirism, and kind of how the military and those afflicted people move forward with it. And the show does not look very good. And I will say, like, overall, this entire season, the best stuff is the stuff that sounds the best. This is the season of sound, because the voice acting and the soundtrack is just very solid and well composited. And I would say episode 1 really surprised me, and I would highly recommend at least give that one a shot. It's kind of like To Your Eternity, where the first episode of this is a self-contained story that sets the mood, but really captures what I think the show is trying to do well. So it's certainly not for everyone. It looks very cheap, but episode 1 and episode 3 have both been very human and touching and solid, and a lot of thought put into it despite the cheap veneer. So Mars Red might be one of my, like, it's probably my hidden gem of the season.
Interesting.
Humu.
Yeah.
Guess its score.
Like 6.9,
6.9, dude.
It's
Nice.
MOA.
It's
Thanks,
certainly not for everyone, but it's
I
worth
just
a
wanted
watch.
to
Okay,
try
you
that.
definitely convinced me to give it a shot.
Yeah.
That's
Because
what
you're
I'm
right,
here to
it
do.
does not look good, but if you're saying it's actually kind of good, then I'll check it out.
We'll see. And if it's bad, I'm not going to be back here again. You can crap on me all day.
Yeah. Yeah, leave a comment if we're wrong about whatever.
That's the beauty of impressions. We're basing all of this on like 2 to 3 episodes tops.
Yeah.
So we're just winging
we
it.
got the full force of that last season where we judged Neverland literally right before it fell apart.
You loved the first episode of Mushoku Tensei.
Oh my god, I did love it.
Yeah, you
didn't I?
did, because it had Roxy, so of course you did.
Well, it's not like I stopped loving Roxy.
Fucking showed you.
I think the biggest swing we've ever had between impressions and retrospective on a show was when Given was airing.
That's true.
And Sha and I spent like 20 minutes just like shitting on how insufferable the main character, like the main boy was. And then by the end of the season, we were like,
Crying.
this show is so powerful. Yeah, we were like crying on the retro.
It was so
That was
beautiful,
good,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch Given, everybody. It's a good
Given's
show.
good. If people watched Given and then forgot about it and didn't realize that the sequel movie came out, came out, and it's pretty good. So I'm just going to plug that real quick.
I heard the sequel movie was basically just a recap and then like a 30-minute episode after.
No,
I
that's
thought
not
it was
true.
a standalone. It was
Yeah.
very much its own thing,
Oh.
and
Oh,
worth
It's
watching if you
definitely
like
not a
Given.
recap.
Oh, okay. Cool. I've been corrected. All right. Well, I guess somewhat similarly to Given in that it's a music anime and also a good show, this is Mashiro no Oto, aka the Snow White Notes.
Very interested to hear about this, because I saw a lot of people
Yeah,
shitting on it
who
on
else
Twitter.
has watched this
I
one?
saw a lot of people shitting on
AKA
it.
like show of the season, perhaps.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah. It's a contender. It's a contender.
It's
yeah, I think all
it's
of
a
us.
Crunchy original, right? Or something?
No,
maybe this
I
wasn't
mean,
what I'm thinking about.
maybe they've said so, but this is a manga adaptation of of a manga that's actually like 10 years old by this point. And yeah, so all of us except Panic have seen it, but I know Panic is going to watch it because it has attractive women in it.
It does have attractive women in it.
Tell me more.
The girls' designs are really good.
Yes.
Do we need to say anything more? I mean, next show.
Watch. Oh man, that's got to be impressions like going forward. Just cute girls, yes or no.
I just want to preface one thing. I do my usual seasonal preview, and this was one of 2 anime this season that I just kind of put on plan to watch based on a whim. I'm just like, I could be totally whiffing on this, but this seems like it could be something, and I'm gonna check it out. And I think I've been right on both of them. So yeah, you go ahead, Sinners.
Okay, so this was one I put on because these kind of like hyper-specific cultural sort of shows are usually well within my wheelhouse. And this is the show I was kind of alluding to earlier when I was like, I wish I watched literally anything else instead of 2 extra episodes of Jouran, because I only got to see the first episode of this before we recorded today. And I felt like the first episode was really all over the place. There was a lot that I really liked about it. I really liked all the flashbacks to the main character's grandfather and everything. Basically all of his internal monologues and internal character struggle I really liked. Pretty much the same, I'll do it to a slightly lesser degree with the main girl. But so much of the stuff that actually happened in the episode felt really fucking dumb. Like everything surrounding the like shitty jerk-ass boyfriend was stupid. Just like I can't. There are really no other words for it.
Yeah. Just dumb and bad.
And then it ends on a really weird note with like the SWAT team kicking down the door and everything. So I wasn't sure how I felt about it overall at the end of the first episode. So then you guys came in and you're like, yeah, this is probably the show of the season. I was like, fuck. Oh, okay. I'm down with that.
I don't know about Mason, but I've seen 2 episodes of this.
I have seen 2 as well.
Okay. I was warned about the first episode. Our friends Sha and OniMaru of the Just Dweebs podcast, OniMaru watched this, and he said that the first episode just soared through manga content, like probably content within the triple digits.
Triple digit pages, not chapters. That would be really stupid. I'm sorry, OniMaru. Please forgive me.
So I totally believe that. It felt super rushed.
Yeah, it does get through a lot of plot elements, but I'm actually going to defend it a little bit in a weird way where I agree that the stuff with like the boyfriend was really dumb. It was so predictable, but that also made me glad that it resolved like so quickly, because I'm just like, okay,
that's true.
I saw everything coming from a mile away. I'm glad they just got this out of the way. And they I feel like they made all of their points properly and well enough. So I was like, it definitely felt super fast, but I was weirdly okay with it.
Yeah, it felt, I could put on like my defender hat and just say that like, oh, this guy from the country just moved to the city. All this stuff happens really quick, and you just kind of, it's in a rush, and it's over. And then he's kind of like acclimated and exactly. So I agree that kind of almost like Jouran, it started off very all over the place with trying to introduce all these characters and then flush them out. But I would say episode 2 takes a breath, slows it down, and unlike Kono Oto Tomare, like this show understands and respects the instrument that it is about, which is the shamisen, and has offered so many powerful performances that have delivered every single time. And, I like that it's more of an adult age range cast, and this feels like a fusion of like Barakamon, March Comes in Like a Lion, and like Rakugo, where it's like this story is about people in this craft, and you get to see them do it.
It's funny that was your list of 3 shows, because I was just thinking the 3 things that it felt like smashed together in my head were Rakugo, Nana, and Smile Down the Runway.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Which are
I didn't think about Runway,
3 shows I like. Smile Down the Runway significantly less than the other 2.
Okay.
But like definitely don't feel like they mesh together. And that was kind of what put me off about the first episode. Does that make sense?
I want to say Rakugo was the common show between you two. is directed by the first episode director of Rakugo.
I am so not surprised.
Yeah, which is probably why I put this on plan to watch, because that's one of my favorite episodes of anime ever.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
Someday I'll watch Rakugo.
You should watch Rakugo.
It even has attractive women in it.
What?
It also has attractive women in it.
Tell me more.
I will also say, like, I just like the sound of a shamisen, like
It's
similar
so
to like an erhu.
Me too.
Like the two-string bow instrument from China. Like, it just has such a rich palette, and I think what really I enjoy about it is I'm a drummer. I'm very rhythmically based.
Oh, same.
Me too.
And this,
Yo, drummer
this
gang!
instrument-
Drummer gang.
Yo!
Hey.
Drum ensemble, let's go. No
It-
retro,
like-
we're just going to record a drum ensemble.
We're a drum line now. Yeah, this is a drum line.
like this instrument is very both rhythmically and like melodically based. Like it's making notes similar to a guitar, but you very much get a very slapping primal sound of the strings being like
Yes.
plucked. I guess
Yeah.
it's not plucked. It's by this like weird little like clamshell looking device that they
Yeah,
uld in the
weird
most
pick.
awkward
Has
looking
this
way
little- this loud
possible.
Clang, like with every.
It kind of sounds like a harpsichord, but not terrible.
Almost. Like it's just a super
Wow.
unique sound. And
There's,
the show
there's like
is
three
respecting
people
it so
who are going
much.
to be very mad at that.
There are dozens of us.
I have a long-standing hatred of the harpsichord. I think that thing sounds miserable.
Wow.
So I love the sound. The characters are mostly fine. Like they're not distracting enough, and just seems really solid. So I've got high hopes for this one.
Yeah, now that you guys have reassured me, I'm super excited to watch more.
Well, now I'm going to watch it because it sounds great. It
Yeah.
sounds good.
Well, it does sound great, LOL, which is a big point I want to hit on because, of course, a music anime, I think the most important aspect of it is obviously going to be the music and
gonna be
how
the
it's
story. Oh, the
presented,
music.
how it's performed. And the shamisen performances have been gripping. They are so incredibly good. Episode 1, of course, had some good ones, but episode 2 especially was just incredible. So the episode 2 is really where the plot kind of kicks off. It's almost like the first episode was like an entire prequel season condensed into one episode. So episode 2 is the main character's his mom shows up, and then she's like trying to get his life back on track and help him get his passion back for shamisen. So she just like randomly orders him just to play this one song, and she sings on top of it, and her voice is crazy. Like it's so good. It's super loud. She's just belting these crazy notes, and he's playing the shamisen along with her, and the sound play is terrific because at first he's playing the shamisen way quieter than her voice, and I was thinking, I'm like, did they just like screw this up? Like I can barely hear this guy. But then that ends up becoming the point where her voice is so loud and she's so confident in her ability that he's being drowned out, both in like in a literal sound sort of way, but also just in terms of ability, I guess, and like in a conceptual way. But then he kind of gets his groove back, and then he starts playing like way louder than her, and then she like snaps and kind of catches on, and then they find this they start matching each other's intensity and volume, and it was so good how they executed that. Like it's really, really good.
That sounds awesome.
And the key is that you know it's good because it's good. Not because someone in the audience is like, wow, this is really impressive, and this is great playing, and this is why I feel things, and I need to explain this for the listener. Like, the show trusts that you will catch on to that. And yeah, the plot, I can't really tell what it is. It's a very nebulous guy is trying to discover his talent, his passion, his sound, whatever it is.
He's
But
trying to
it's,
rediscover it.
It's good.
Yeah, his grandpa died, who is the one who taught him how to play the shamisen. Although when he died, he said to stop. Not sure why. And they do the Yurlai in April melodrama of "I Can't Hear the Notes," but they actually do this in a not cringy and terrible way. They actually like the melodrama in this is actually solid.
Impossible.
Everybody knows it's
melodrama is
impossible
cringe.
to believe. But yeah, this is a contender for this is the dark horse of the season for sure. I think that people really should be looking at this one.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I will say, most disappointing thing, I think that the girl in the first episode might not come back.
Are you kidding me?
Peaced out.
I have no idea, but I mean, she does depart on a train, so I don't know. Maybe she'll come back later. No one is reading this manga at all, so I don't even think we can have source readers confirm this.
So it might not have attractive women after all?
Well, I mean...
there are other women.
God.
Yeah,
Good.
you'll probably like his mom.
Is she the one who shows up at the end of the first episode?
Yes, the weird, kind of almost like gaudy looking chick.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. You'll like that woman
yes,
just like
yes.
oozes panic vibes. She does like a horny mouth lick after she like breaks down the door with the SWAT team.
Perfect.
She's very over the top.
Well, sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, and also the counselor, like the teacher, was also attractive. Yeah, watch this anime, Panic. It's good.
Sounds really good. Yes.
Also the OP and the ED are both have, of course, they're infused with shamisen in them. They're like kind of traditional songs, like normal songs. Like the OP is by Burnout Syndromes, who are famous for like doing high Q OPs, and it's like a rock song, but it's got shamisen in it. It sounds great. The ED though, the ED slaps. It's so catchy.
At the end of the first episode, did they play the ED or the OP?
That was the ED.
You can't be tell. That was the ED. Yeah. Oh, yes. That was so good.
That was really freaking good. That's my favorite ED. Maybe my favorite ED. There's another really good one. But yeah. So I'm really, really into this series, and I'm really excited to see more of it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, and this wasn't another one that I thought would be a dark horse, but it was one that caught my interest. I thought, okay, this seems interesting. Want to see how this will go. And it's called Odd Taxi.
How much have you seen of it?
I've seen one episode.
I've seen 3. The 3 that are out.
Okay.
And it is really good. I think it's really nice. I have my notes that it is B-stars, but everyone is like grown up and have back pain.
So like a Gretzko.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's more a Gretzko than B-stars.
That's my other note. It's like a Gretzko, but more like less ridiculous. Like more gritty, but not like that. Like
I feel like it's a little cheap to just be like, oh, it's like all the other animal shows. Yeah. But it kind of really is.
Just like big city life with mascotty animals.
How many different ways can you do society with animals?
Yeah. How many? Yeah, this is it. They ran out, and this is the last one, and it's very
B-Stars was already compared to Zootopia the moment it started. So.
Oh, right away. The main girl is a fucking bunny, and the main guy is a wolf, and the other guy's a fox.
That's because it is literally Zootopia.
It is literally just Zootopia.
Exactly.
Animals are canceled.
Fucking
from now on.
Stop it with the animals. No, Odd Taxi is actually really good. It's like super chill. The OP is like so laid back, nice.
It's a weird OP.
It's weird, but
aesthetic. And
I
cool.
love it. I love this.
It's one of the most unique OPs I've seen in the last couple years.
It has a really nice, like, painterly style. This whole show has this, like, kind of like a grainy filter over it. It looks like it's all like, well, yeah, kind of just like a grainy filter. It's very stylized, which means everyone is very consistent in how they look. Very well produced. The voice acting is great. I would die for the walrus. He is so good.
I do like the main character.
Main character, the walrus, Odokawa or something like that. Yep. Taxi driver. You just get to drive around with him and like hear him listen to the radio, listen to him have conversation with the people he picked up. We kind of see a little bit of their lives. There's an Idol fan who has like this whole, I was there at their first gig, so that kind of makes me feel accomplished, and it kind of makes me feel like the whole mentality. It's like very much like it's like pocket philosophy lessons, philosophy class kind of thing. Where you
is it like I don't suppose any of you have seen Bartender?
No,
I have.
I've heard of it.
Is it anything like Bartender, Mason?
It's much more compressed. I would say it's 3 to 4 Bartender episodes in a single show, and it's very just a meditation on social media, on idol culture, on just all these things going on in our world.
The first episode, he picks up
very relevant.
Picked up this hippo guy who's like just obsessed with going viral on Twitter, and just talks about like, why do you want that? How do you do that? He posts a selfie of both of them. It goes viral. And then we see that guy in his room. He has printed out that tweet on.
I was about to say, and like framed it.
Like, no, it's like pinned on a board behind his computer. And he's like, okay, the next one. I need to go viral again.
Yeah, like it's such a vibe. The show is absolutely just a vibe the thing. Like if we could get Otokawa on a podcast, the Walrus guy, it would be exceptional. Like once again,
the only thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just wish he had a deeper voice. His voice actor is good, but I don't think it fits. He sounds like a bright-voiced guy who's trying to do a low voice. Doesn't sound right, but it's fine. And he's kind of maybe starting a relationship with this cute alpaca nurse. There's the gorilla.
She's a cutie.
There's the boomer gorilla doctor. They talk about old music. She's like, what's a cassette? What's a vinyl? I don't know what any of this is. They're talking about
Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen. Say that 3 times fast. He can't do it. It's fucking great. Like, who's the MVP in We Are the World? And she doesn't know the song. And so she shows up later and she's listened to it and like, oh, I think it's Cyndi Lauper, actually. It's just people living their lives. And
the dialogue in the
is
show
so good.
Is exceptional. Like, I talked about Mars Red. Sounds great. I mean, we talked about the Snow White notes. That sounds amazing. Atexi sounds great in just the speech.
Yes.
And I'd say, yeah, it looks a little simple. That's fine. The dialogue just carries the show. I could watch this constantly. I think the biggest downfall for people is that it's setting up to be like very much a slow burn mystery.
Yes, I was about to say. It has like this.
If you were...
Sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, you.
I was just going to say, like, if you're not into like these little meditative like moments, you're going to be like, oh, what's the plot? Like, who's the killer? Who's the kidnapper? Like, what's going on? Like, that's going to probably take a while to deliver any sort of thing, if at all.
Yes, because...
go for it.
Because I was about to say, there is this through line, these little smatterings of someone disappeared, and people saw her enter his cab, and the cops want the footage from his dash cam, and they're giving it up to criminals. Like, there's like dirty cops in it. And then we see him at home talk to someone. We don't know who. It's assumed to be the girl. Like, I'm guessing she's like a runaway from something bad, and he's helping her out, giving her a place to stay. But now this whole...
It's that other show that I don't remember the name of.
Shave. He shaved and brought home
Hige, yeah. I became a walrus and brought home...
Yeah. It's like there's also like finding love when you're older. That's another side of it. He has this monkey friend who's like... Because he's like kind of starting to catch feelings for this alpaca who's so fucking cute. And his little monkey friend is like busy on Tinder, like lying about his income and his education because he's not getting any hits. And now it looks like he's kind of getting catfished and he's gonna get like jumped next episode, I think. He's meeting up with presumably a young girl, and they're kind of getting followed by some shady characters. One of whom is like an idol group manager. There is an idol group in this. It's just like a Gretsuko, where the main girl is super popular. The other two are kind of like lamenting that they have been relegated to background dancers. They have to wear masks. Their merch doesn't sell as well. It's just all these like real life things. And it's just a vibe. It's a very big vibe.
Yeah,
you guys have
all
sold me
in
on this one too. This sounds good.
It's just cozy.
Nice, yeah. Nice.
I will. I don't have anything to say about it really. This is probably gonna be a binge watch for me. I'll probably just wait for it to finish and then watch it all at once.
I think you're gonna fall asleep if you binge it, because it's just so calming.
Well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I fall asleep during lots of things anyway. I do want to say, the studios for this, I don't know if this was intended. If so, that's really funny. If not, that's also really funny. But the studios are OLM and PICS Olympics.
I I hope it's intentional. Maybe they were like, hey, I see you have this name and we have this name. Maybe we should make something together.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So that's that. All right, the next one.
It's going to be quick.
Next one is a... What's that?
It's going to be quick.
Yeah, okay. Sentouin Hakenshimasu.
Combatants will be dispatched.
Correct. AKA, where the fuck is Konosuba Season 3, you pieces of shit?
AKA, the writer of Konosuba should maybe just write more Konosuba. He should not do anything else.
It's literally Konosuba.
No, it's not. It's absolutely
Yeah, but not as good.
Because I dropped...
and not as good, yes.
I dropped this almost immediately. I could not stand it. It was so loud and annoying. It's everything I hate about modern children's cartoons. Just screaming and colors. And I hated it so much.
I got about 10 minutes in, the main character did an explosion gag. And they did everything. Like, they did the backgrounds, they did the effects, they did the music, they did everything. And I stopped to go cry.
Yeah.
This is probably the most boring fantasy world someone's been sent to. Like, it's so uninteresting and trite.
I didn't even get to the world. What's it like?
It's worse
a fantasy
than the beginning.
Oh. So it's pseudo Germany, like a village. There's a circular city with a river.
It's
just lacking in any culture
or RPG.
like.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's really bad. Watch Konosuba. More importantly, watch the Konosuba movie.
Yes.
That was spectacular.
This series
I literally
killed my sister and fucked my dog. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I mean, I just don't understand why it's so hard to ask for more of the most, like, one of the most popular and successful series.
I don't understand
of the last 5 years. Why do they just this is just literally just making fun of me at this point, because the main character is literally Kazuma.
I think
he's literally Kazuma.
I think that must be it. It must just be like a cruel joke.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
They also made the fucking Isekai Wrestler, and like that one was good though, but not as good as Konosuba, and this one is fucking god awful. But like they will literally adapt anything he makes besides more Konosuba.
And also the Konosuba staff is on Princess Connect, which it doesn't look like Konosuba, but it has lots of similar things to it.
Vibe.
Yeah. It's just like, why is this happening?
Why can't you just make good things? Why make this fucking garbage? It is bad.
They just announced a sequel to fucking Isekai Restaurant before they gave me a Konosuba.
That shows a vibe, though. That's chill. I'm very excited for that.
Show, it's not terrible, but why?
I mean, it's a vibe. It's just like you chill out and talk about food.
Asked
and
for this.
There's cute dragon girl and elf girl and...
I hate this genre. I hate this medium.
No.
And also, the girl companion he's with, he is also useless and bitchy, and he just calls her useless and bitchy. It's the same fucking show.
Useless Miwa. There she is.
Let's get out of here. I'm so... By the way, same director as Mashiro no Oto somehow.
Lol.
Well, you can see where that guy's effort went this season.
His only direction was do whatever.
Yeah. All right, so the next anime, an actually good one, another possibly dark horse. This is Shadow's House.
But then
Shadow's House is another one that my feelings are kind of all over the place.
But when will we get Sonic's house?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Panic.
Like, the obvious standout of Shadow's House is the aesthetic. I missed what
Sonic's house.
Don't worry
Sonic
about
the
it.
Hedgehog.
Just keep going.
Okay.
Don't you know Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yes. Yeah, the obvious, like, standout good thing about Shadow's House is the aesthetic. The, like, shadow family, like, just the pitch black silhouette people who, like, ooze soot constantly. Nice. They, like, leave the sooty smear marks on everything they touch and all.
Can I interrupt to say
cool.
that I fucking hate the word soot? It's just aesthetically unappealing, and I hate having to say it.
Soot.
Really?
It's just one of my random gripes against the English language. Continue, please.
I can say ash if you'd prefer for the duration of this episode.
I would like to say ash, but that's a different thing.
It's close enough, but whatever. It's like super cool gothic aesthetic.
It's gothic Victorian.
Yeah, that's more accurate. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm very down with that. And then I think it's in the second episode, because there have only been 2 episodes.
I think the third
Right?
came out today.
Okay.
Probably.
And then in the second episode, when we meet one of the other like doll people with her shadow girl, and the way she has to like, the way they like mimic each other, the way that every time they do anything is creepy and unsettling and also cool, and gets us our first actual view at like what the point of anything is.
Yeah, that
in
was
this
the
world.
best part of the series so far.
So it's doing a great job setting up a cool aesthetic and like drip feeding information about what's happening here. But I don't really care for any of the characters. You know, like the main girl who's not the shadow is just your kind of like archetypal like airhead breathy anime girl voice, who I think kind of the point is that she's very much at odds with the setting, but I still don't like how much she detracts from the atmosphere constantly. And it's not like any of the other characters we've met fit in with the setting and much more than she does. They're all very like Genki anime girl, and which I think kind of has detracted from the experience for me so far.
I completely agree. She's just so bumbling, and like every scene she's just knocking stuff over, making a mess, and you're like, I get it. I got it. Can we just not spend so much time with her like breaking stuff accidentally? This is another Cloverwork show with a dark, mysterious manga adaptation where people live in one place of living. Like, where have I seen this before?
I have seen people posit that the fact this was coming out is why they just decided to end Promised Neverland.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not entirely serious. I can't not. I actually say with sincerity that, you know, Cloverworks did that, but it's like, I can't ignore that either. It's just like, I don't know.
Exactly.
There's no way they cut off their
Most
shonen
likely, sure.
massive leg. Yeah. But I know what you're saying. I mean, I like that this show is trying to be different. The OP is super cool with like the neat like Todo from Jujutsu Kaisen, like body switching powers happening. You got the ED with like the Utena staircase going on. Like the show looks pretty good, but I'm with you where I just am not fully invested into it, and I think there's just still more we have to learn. So definitely I'm going to keep watching it, but very reserved because, you know, only 2 episodes have come out that I've seen so far, and it's got a lot to prove, but it's got potential.
Well, I like this one quite a bit. I thought this was one of the this is one of the best shows of the season. I'm really drawn into the concept of this, and I think that they're doing a really good job of selling it, and particularly with how they're doing a lot of show not tell, like with the shadows and how the soot that comes out of their head, like it intensifies based on their emotions and things like that. I think they're just doing a good job of drawing out the story a little bit in the mysteries of it pretty slowly, but it's easy to follow along.
I totally 100% agree with everything you just said. It's just that like the way the characters act takes me out of it. That's my only complaint.
I don't know. I didn't have that problem. And I don't know. Maybe there's a point to it. Maybe they just act like that because the premise is that they are basically the stand-ins for the shadows who you know do not appear to have faces, so they use these actual people as their faces and as their emotions. And we saw that in episode 2 with how one of the shadows ended up controlling her person, and it was like really weird and unsettling.
I didn't think she was controlling her. I thought that like they had lived together so much and were so in sync that the doll was like knowing to react that way.
I don't think that's
just like able to mimic her mannerisms perfectly.
Yeah,
that's also how I perceived it.
Because they're like constantly saying like Miliko, the MC like doll, is like, oh, you're such a failure. Like, you can't even do your one job right of like matching your owner and like matching her face. So you could be right. I guess there's still a lot to learn.
Yeah.
I just love the scene in episode 2 where Kate gets like super pissed and like is just emitting all this like dark spirit energy, looking straight like Gon from Hunter x Hunter. Just it's intriguing.
Yeah.
I'm not sold, but it's intriguing.
Yeah, I liked it. Is there anything? I like how clueless the main character is, and how I actually like that about her, especially because one of the biggest question marks is how did these people even, like, how did this happen? Like, just how did we get to this point? Because the main character just wakes up one day and she understands what she has to do. She understands her purpose in life, but also she doesn't know what food is. Like, she takes she doesn't understand food, but she also understands all the mannerisms and things like that, because she gets her bread for the day. She gets her pan. She takes 2 bites of it, and then she saves it for later because she thinks that it's for her shadow. So she doesn't eat, but she also doesn't understand the consequences of this. So then there's this huge dramatic reveal towards the end of the episode where she's like, oh my god, I'm literally dying in 10 seconds. I'm so sorry. And it's just because she didn't eat. And
oh, jeez.
Yeah, like, that's the weird thing. She like clearly gets what food is and that she's supposed to eat, but she doesn't understand what hunger is.
Yeah. And I feel like there's gonna be I'm just curious, like, what happened, why are things like this, and I hope that the anime will deliver on these sorts of things. I'm liking it quite a bit. I think it's one of the more unique shows we've seen in the last in recent years.
Agreed. Yeah.
And also, this is the other show with the really, really good ED. The ED slaps.
I think I heard a clip of this. It's quite good.
That's true.
All right, but yeah, I recommend it quite a bit. So this next one, next anime, where is it? I guess no, I didn't go out of order. Okay, Shakunetsu Kabaddi.
Kabaddi.
Did anyone else watch this?
Yeah, I watched like 3 episodes of it.
Oh wow, you've seen a lot of it.
I have not.
I have.
Do you like it?
Oh my goodness, can you imagine anything more embarrassing than streaming and podcasting? I'm really glad I'm not involved with that.
Horrifying.
I wanted to like this show. Like, I like the idea of this sport. I love when anime captures like very niche sports and just like shows them to the world. You had that with Higehiro. You had that with Keijo for whatever fake that was. Like, it made you imagine and be like, oh, how would playing the sport be? And I think Kabaddi could be fun.
Yeah.
But this show does not capture it well at all. They have these like struggle sequences that are very cringe-inducing, and I found it to be one of
struggle that they play every time.
This is probably one of the weaker sports series this season, and if you don't know, it's telling the most basic, generic sports tropey show ever about the sport Kabaddi. Look it up online. It's a very interesting and wild sport that is a thing, and I can't believe that it has the rules it does, but essentially it's like tag and wrestling mixed together. It's pretty interesting. This does not capture it well. I think a sports show... Exactly. I feel like a sports anime is measured on how much it makes you want to try that sport, and this fails on that account. It just doesn't look great. It doesn't sound great. The characters are fine, but just so archetypal that
I hated the characters.
I wanted to like it, and by the end of my 3rd episode, I was like, I think I'm done.
That's a shame. Yeah, I mean, I thought the Kabaddi was the strongest aspect just because I'm interested in this sport. It's like you said, it's one of those things that it's weird and niche. And anime has touched on it sometimes in skits. Like Panic just posted in chat a clip of Chio's School Road, and I remember from that. So it's like, yeah,
I think everyone has a knee-jerk reaction to that as their introduction to Kabaddi.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I would watch a full series about this, but the first episode was like, it's so weird. this is a manga that started publishing in 2015, but it feels so dated. Like the main character is a live streamer, and it's so goofy. Where he's a live streamer, he's broadcasting himself, like himself on camera. He just wears a mask, like just like a shitty normal white mask that everyone is wearing nowadays for coronavirus. Like, and he thinks that's gonna just like he goes around like, yeah, no one knows my identity. It's like, bro, what? And that becomes a big conflict later on where, and I hate when this happens, like every time with the school club anime, the main character gets freaking blackmailed into joining this thing. Like, if you don't join the school club, we're gonna fucking ruin your entire life.
When will we ever get a high school anime where someone joins a club because they want to?
Mob Psycho 100.
Hell yeah.
There's actually one this season. I don't think we're gonna cover it, but it's Bakuten. It's backflip, and it's actually pretty good.
Oh shit, we
Wait,
should have
there's a
talked about
flipping
that.
anime?
Flipping club.
It's the rhythm gymnastics anime.
I saw that. I saw like a trailer for that. And the animation looked crazy. Yeah, maybe we should have talked about it.
It's all like CG for the performances, almost like an idol show. It's the Noi Tamina show this season, which I know that doesn't have the same weight it did like 5 years ago, but it's actually not bad. But that's for another time. Kabaddi, like you think of like Chihai Afuru, you think of Kuroko no Basket, you think of Haikyuu, and you're like, wow, these shows look as good or cooler than the sports they're, covering. This just looks so awkward and stilted. It's rough.
Yeah. But
That's a shame.
Yeah, Kabaddi is like mediocre. Oh, the other way it's outdated is that this guy's a live streamer, but like clearly what he does is like VTuber stuff. Except this came out before VTubers were a thing, and that's disappointing. Because nowadays I'm just like, man, if this manga started publishing like 2 years later, this would be so much better. But now it feels like a different generation. So yeah, I didn't hate it, and I might watch more of it, but so far, yeah, it was kind of disappointing. It's a big shame. It's unfortunate. Oh well. But speaking of things that are not disappointing, here's one of my most anticipated anime of this season. Yes. Once again, Slime Taoshite 300 Nen Shiranaide, whatever. It's Slime 300.
Kill slimes for 300 years, and for some reason, no one ever talked to me, and now I'm really popular.
Yes, that's the name. That's the full title.
So go off, King. You finally got your show.
My show. Long-time listeners might know this. I've been talking about this since frickin' 2018 when Reincarnated as a Slime first came out.
It's a dude who gets reincarnated as a slime. The entire plot is in the title, right? Like, why do I need to watch it? But
as is the case with light novels.
As it is.
Hang on. Actually, real quick, I just want to say, just to like play off that joke, I literally just got a light novel recently, sort of as a joke because the cover has a girl wearing a witch hat, but it's called as it is, the whole title is the synopsis, and it's called I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 Years and Maxed Out My Level. And I'm like, this must be the prequel to that novel. This is a light novel I've been following. I haven't, although admittedly I haven't read a whole lot of it. I've just read the first volume and a half. But it's a cute witch waifu show. That's it.
Hell
and
yeah.
She certainly is a cute witch waifu.
She is a very cute witch waifu.
Her, and she is voiced by Aoi Yuki, and it is great.
And anime of the season.
Should we talk about her hat?
Her hat is she has the biggest
I cannot fucking believe how big her hat is.
And I love it.
It makes no sense. Like, and it doesn't, it's inconsistent too. Like, sometimes it's just big. Other times, she could literally pop a squat and it's a tent. The opening of the hat is the size of a barrel, and it makes no sense how it stays on her head. But that's fine.
Yeah, Kino.
This show felt like a mix between like Kuma 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 Bear and like Bofuri, and a little bit of maybe slime. Not because it has slime in the title, but it just is very relaxing. It's very chill. It's very much just
very laid back,
letting you soak in the world more than like actually going on an adventure or anything.
Yeah, which is going to be both of the shows detriment and benefit. I think they're like, I mean, every isekai that comes out with a long title is going to be scrutinized to death by a lot of mainstream audiences. But if you are willing to look past the fact that it's not trying to be a grand adventure, it's just going to be a calm, comfy slice of life about a cute witch waifu and your cute lesbian friends, I think you'll have a good time. And that's what the series
daughters?
is. It's a solid series. Her daughters, whatever.
And
I don't
did you notice that in her, like, she has put 2 modes really. She's like her witch outfit, and then like at home, not with the hat, not with the coat. She's wearing this cute white dress, and for some reason, just like a collar, not attached to anything, like a male stripper.
Hell yeah.
That's called character design, my dude.
That is called character design, and it is.
Design. You wouldn't understand.
It's just like for no reason, just wearing this shirt collar and like a yellow bib.
Fucking Chippendale tie.
Yeah, she looks like a Chippendale.
Imagine being so stressed out over your work that you need a 300-year vacation of just mindlessness to
That sounds like my
chillax.
life.
It also speaks to like the toxic work culture of Japan, that she just dies from overwork.
In her 20s.
And then she comes into this world where the dragon is like, oh, I'm going to work my ass off and prove that I am worth your time. And she's like, no. We don't use that here. Because that's how I fucking died. You're going to take breaks. You're going to get some sleep.
It's relaxing. I don't need it to be a action adventure.
No, not at all.
Like it's going to be cute. It's going to do its visual gags. It's going to talk about boob sizes and just be like, haha, this one is super busty. Funny,
It's the
right?
classic,
And you're gonna be like,
girl main character. There always has to be a, oh, my boobs are small joke.
Your boobs are big.
I see you
Isn't
have
that crazy?
big boobs. I have small boobs.
The Journey of Elena, 2020.
This certainly is a conundrum.
slide whistle sound effects.
Yeah. It was like,
Where is your slide whistle, Panic?
oh, wait.
We'll wait. Thank you.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, he has a slide
Awesome.
whistle for occasions like this. Yeah, in other words, basically, this is the same character. She's also just Elena.
Yeah.
It's the same. Yeah. Funny enough.
That bad though? That like aggravating?
No,
What do you mean
Elena, you're talking shit about my wife.
We're talking about Wandering Witch,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Talking about
The
the same
best,
Elena,
most perfect girl who ever existed.
No, the one who ends every episode with "I'm so cute, teehee." That
Which
one.
is true.
She starts with, who's that flying there?
Exactly.
That perfect ray of sunshine. That's right. It's
Okay,
me.
okay. I'm picking up what you're
Hey,
putting
you
down.
can't,
Perfect.
man, you can't just shit on someone for being like, for loving themselves.
For being right.
Self-love. You have to love yourself.
Anyway, I brought up Elena because these anime got announced literally at the same time, and I thought that was funny.
We live in the years of the witch. There's a lot of witches.
It's the witch hat season.
And fucking
which-
look
yeah,
at this witch
whatever.
hat, sinners, if you haven't seen it. Look at that. The bow.
That isn't even my final
The
form.
bow is bigger than her body.
Peak character design, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, my favorite, best show of the decade. All right, next anime. Another really good. Speaking of, like, I mentioned Reincarnated as Slime. That was fall 2018. You know what else came out in fall 2018? SSSS Gridman. This weird show that some people watched and a lot of people liked. And now it has not necessarily a sequel. It's unclear as to how this relates to it, but it is within the same universe. This is SSSS.Dynazenon.
Dynazenon.
Which
It's
is-
just Dynazenon.
If there's one thing I know about Trigger is that there will be a crossover.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Dynazenon. We have to say it every which way.
I thought they said Dynazenon.
No, how could
Whatever.
you miss it? They do the fucking jingle every
Yeah.
time the transformation happens. Dynazenon!
Because I saw Sha flub it a million times on YouTube. Dynazenon.
Well, that's Sha.
It's true. Anyway, it's pretty good. I've seen 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yume is perfect. Love her.
Oh, Yume's so. I love Yume's design. I don't know exactly
Because
what
it's
it is
Rika
about it,
and
but something
Akane in
about
one
it is.
character.
I guess you're right.
They,
I don't think she does.
Whoa,
two
we
great
all
tastes
know
that
the
taste great
best-
together.
The best character, though, is in episode 2.
Is that the,
By far.
the villain lady?
Which
The one who's actually finally brought the thickness
Fuck
that
yeah,
episode
dude,
1 was
my man.
massive.
Fuck yeah.
Of the kaiju eugenicists? I don't think she has a
Exactly,
name.
exactly.
Well, I haven't seen the most recent
no,
episode.
she does have a name, but I don't remember what it
in
is.
the 2 episodes I
All
saw,
4 of
I
them
didn't
are
hear
given names, but like, who cares what they
Yeah,
are?
whatever. She's
Mujina.
She's thick villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, she, waifu of the season, marked in stone. I'm not vibing with this one as much as I did with Gridman, but
very different.
I'll give it a shot. I mean, it's a slow start, which I think Gridman also was the same way. I didn't like Yume in just how like infuriating she was with just like making promises and then dropping them. Like that was not quite bullying, but it was in the
It's a
sense of
shitty
like
thing
just
to do.
disrespecting
But
other people.
It also, because of watching Gridman, it's like, I expect that to lead somewhere. Like, Gridman caught everybody off
Exactly.
guard, and now I'm watching this, like, I mean, I don't know if it's like good faith, it's like bad, it's like, I expect to be lied to. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's gotta be some traumatic
like-
reason she does what she does, and
I'm surprised you say you're not vibing with it, because it definitely took me a while for Gridman to click with me. But this
Yeah, I
one has
like
just
this
like got me
immediately.
right from the start.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it has a very different vibe to it. It feels more like immediately engaging, like the group like knows each other pretty well already.
Yeah, I thought it was really strong how in the first episode they just like throw a million characters at you, many of whom are not connected to each other at all until like the events of the end of the episode. But the way they introduce them is done like so organically and evocatively that I felt like I understood who everyone was immediately.
They also do, I don't know if Gridman did this, whenever the kaiju shows up, they play this old ass tokusatsu bum 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 dum dum dum.
Yeah, I
dum.
think Gridman did that.
Great, like Godzilla
Grid-
music. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, the music is the same as Gridman, as in there is no music until you get to the action.
And then you get all the music.
Yeah.
Then you get the old horns, you get the fucking metal fight song, you get the OP insert every single episode. It's great.
I mean, I was drawn into both Gridman and this one within episode 1,
Yes.
and because they just have such a weird, off-putting, like surreal atmosphere to them that just really draws me in and makes me want to know more. So far, it hasn't started off quite as strange as Gridman. Like that one, like that show certainly had a bizarre start. But I do, yeah. I don't know where to go from there. I just like. This one a lot.
But also
I just
because of Gridman, it makes you immediately start looking for clues.
yes,
right.
yeah, immediately.
She's
like the first.
like
yeah,
Yume is carrying around these 2 ankhs, these Egyptian fertility symbols, the black and white, and they're interwoven, and she's carrying them around everywhere. I'm like, is that a clue? Ooh, what could it be? What could it be?
Yeah. And when Galma is first introduced and he like introduces himself as a kaiju user, I'm like, oh, so does he have the power that blanking on her name did in Gridman?
Akane?
Yeah, that Akane did in Gridman, but no, it seems like the kaiju are like different this time.
It seems like the kaiju eugenicists, because they do the same thing he did, but it works for them. Like they make the V with their hand and like activate, and then they take
but
control.
it doesn't seem like anybody is doing the Akane thing where she like built the kaiju intentionally. They're just like finding ones that come into existence and then taking them over.
Who's making them? Because these eugenicists just show up and say, "Hey, this one arrived pretty quick. Who's gonna write it? You." So like, who's the instigator? Who's the guy?
Yeah. So I'm really curious how connected this and Gridman will end up being in the end, or whether they're just kind of like aesthetically, thematically connected and don't actually have any plot narrative relation. I don't know.
The opening screen says SSS.Dynazenon, Gridman universe.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a cinematic universe now.
It's all connected.
Yeah, I'm really into this
And
show. I'm enjoying it a
fucking
lot.
glamour shots of the mechs look so good. They're so shiny and perfect. I love them. And I'm a sucker. My 90s ass is a sucker for a good transformation sequence. They can do that for 10 hours. I will never get bored. Stuff clanking into place, like pipes rotating. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, honestly, there's actually a lot more I could say about Dynazenon, but we don't have another hour to spend on this one show. Mason, do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm good. Like, I'm not against the show. I'll keep on watching
Sure.
it. I just hasn't immediately grabbed me in the same way. So I look forward to seeing what Trigger will deliver. I'm just very skeptical about Gamma's t-shirt, shirt, whatever that is.
What the fuck, man? What
Tape
is that?
midriff thing.
My man's wearing fucking electric tape.
Yeah.
I mean, he's eating, like, crabs
Bags
in a
under his
sewer,
eyes.
so I guess I'm not
The
going
way
to
he
judge him too
shows up
much.
and he's not
Yeah.
eating anything, and kaijus haven't existed in this world until now, I guess, makes me think that they've been teleported in from another world or something, some parallel dimension.
Oh, how much have you guys
2
watched?
episodes.
I watched 2 episodes.
Oh, episode 3 does like explain more about
Okay,
their
good.
origins, and it's weird.
Well,
Okay.
as expected.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And now, yet again, an anime that I was looking forward to a lot.
This is your season, my man.
This is my season. This is the most hyped I've ever been in my entire life for an anime. It is The World Ends With You, aka Subarashiki Kono Sakai, the animation. It's an adaptation of my favorite game of all time. Yes, good.
Twilly.
Is good.
And I like
Would
it.
recommend. Looks good.
Yeah, it has a weird like 2D, 3D style that I know some people have been like viscerally negative about, but I
don't
think it's fine.
understand
I
it
think
at
they're
all
doing a good
because
job.
from what I can tell, it looks just like the game. And I mean,
I think it looks better as a game than it
Oh,
does
yeah.
Definitely.
as an anime.
Yeah, I guess
that
the
said, I don't think it
frogs are
looks bad.
The frogs are a little odd, but I mean, this captures like Nomura's designs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it looks great. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I like it. They adapt the style pretty well. The story, they are doing interesting things with. I mean, they're adapting the story about as well as I guess you can for, like a 20-hour game into a 4-hour anime. They're cutting lots of the good dialogue that makes me love the game so much, unfortunately. But otherwise, it's like, it starts off a little bit slow. It picks up a little more. Episode 3 came out yesterday and had like one of the big like plot twists, which I think they actually sold really, really well. The way it continues beyond week 1, I thought they executed that scene like even better than the game did. It was even more dramatic and heartbreaking and surprising in the anime. So I like that a lot. And we're going to get my boy Shoma Namimoto next week, who is the greatest character that has ever been created. I'm so excited. And yeah.
Nice.
yes.
It's hard to say. It's hard to talk about it because I could just be gushing about the game. I know lots of people don't really like it.
And
that
we
much
did
because-
one episode of a series that might continue, The Weekends with You. We did
Yes.
the inaugural episode of
Yeah,
that.
we talked about the first episode there. We talked about lots of things in that episode. It was kind of all over the place, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I just like this a lot. Just go play The World Ends With You, please.
Yeah, this is another one. I've only had time to watch a single episode of it so far, but I will try to catch up for next week so I can see your boy.
I will also say the first episode was probably the weakest, just because they go through so much and
Yeah, it felt pretty rushed.
yeah, and they don't really sell the emotional core as well, but it does pick up afterwards. And I've been happy with these last couple episodes.
Yes.
So yeah, cool. I'm so yeah. All right, and the next anime is Super Cub. Who has seen Super Cub? Besides,
I have, and it's amazing.
yeah,
Yes.
I think it's just you and me. Okay, Super Cub. This is the other anime that I said I put on plan to watch because I could be totally wrong. This could be totally nothing, but I'm going to take a chance and see because there just seems to be something about it that is drawing me in, and it's paid off. I won't say that this is an amazing series. It's the best of the season, but I know there are going to be people who will say that, and I can see why.
And it's that good? Isn't this? So it's more than just motorcycle commercial anime.
Barely. Like, this is a glorified Honda ad. Like, let's not kid ourselves, but damn, it's effective.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is the most enjoyably boring anime that I've ever seen, I think. Would you agree with that?
I can't disagree with it. It tells the story of Koguma, who is like the stone wall of just blandness. Like, she lives in a gray world where she eats like beige food and it has like sandy walls. Like, everything is just like color palette turned down to nothing. And that's actually a gimmick of the show.
Yeah.
And essentially, she's just a nobody. She has no one in her life. She's just not vibing. I think that's the word we've said the most this episode. Vibe. I'm going to try to
we say vibing
that.
a lot.
Get used to it, buddy.
That's kind of sus. But but essentially, in episode 1, she, by happenstance or pity or what have you, she kind of gathers up her courage and gets a motorcycle, and that gives her like an identity and this freedom to change her life. And this is the first steps of her, venturing out into the world of owning a motorcycle, riding a motorcycle, like just being involved with something that's giving her purpose.
Yeah.
And yes, it's very heavy-handed, but it is so relaxing and grounded and just enjoyable.
It's like ASMR, the anime.
Yeah,
it's like
Sinners
like think of think of like the most low key elements of something like Girls Last Tour, Flying Witch. There was one other one I was thinking. Year to Camp Triangle, of course. Like, think of those. Like, it's like that low key, maybe even more. It's just so quiet and nothing happening, and like you said, it's a colorless world. Like, all the colors are really muted. But then when when Koguma gets on, she gets her Super Cub and she like gets on it for the first time. Suddenly the colors like pulse and become a lot more saturated. And they even, without drawing attention to it, they continue doing that where she gets off her motorcycle and then everything kind of goes back to that grayness, that desaturation. And then when she's riding her bike, she's a lot happier and everything is a lot more vibrant and colorful. And I thought that was really, really cool. It was really great. And then it seems so pointless. Like, why would you care about an anime about just some nobody girl riding a bike? But the last like line of dialogue really sells it, where she says, "I had nothing before, but now I have my Super Cub." And it's like, it just sells this that note of being about cherishing the little things in life and just having this small thing that can be a huge step forward in your life. And I thought that was really, really cool.
That's cool.
The show is certainly about the small things. Like, the big plot points are her like buying goggles or getting a basket. Like, it is mundane and minuscule.
I'm being tempted.
But
I want to watch this now. I had seen some screenshots and I thought it
sounds a lot better than I
thought
expected.
it looked really ugly and off-putting. I did not like the palette.
It certainly is. Especially like CG, like motorcycle operations.
Yeah.
But it feels tactile, it feels real.
But it sounds like it's worth it, and like being muted colors is kind of the point. So
exactly.
I will absolutely give the first episode a try.
I would say if you're not digging it after episode 1,
but I'm afraid I will, and I'm already
not worth
watching
continuing.
More shows, great. But no, I'll probably love it. It sounds great.
Yeah, like I said, there's going to be, like, I can totally understand if someone watches this and is like, this is terrible. This is
the most like, boring thing ever.
Yeah, but there's also going to be, it's like, again, like Yudu Camp, Flying Witch. There's going to be some people who are like, this is the best show of the year. Because that's just the effect.
Some people just live for the vibe,
has.
Like Becker would probably like
this. So. The vibe.
I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. So, I'm impressed. It's a very, very quiet show that's I like at the bottom of the chart, but I think it's worth checking out.
Yeah.
Now, closer to the top of the chart, one of the most popular anime that we're finally getting to is Tokyo Revengers.
So this was on my list, and then I heard that it was like the disappointment of the season. So I didn't get
I
to
haven't
it.
heard anyone say anything good about it.
I don't know. I haven't really heard anything about it in
Also
general.
that.
I watched the first episode today, and I just didn't like it, but I'm willing to watch more of it because I'm going to assume that because this is such a popular source material, it's going to pick up a lot in the future, and maybe this is a really, really popular and really beloved. Like, people went crazy when this adaptation got announced.
I also think it has going against it that like the aesthetic of the poster is like black and red, and it's Tokyo Revengers. So I think of Tokyo Babylon. So I think it's a meme show. It might be.
It's also good Gohan's. Tokyo Revengers would be better if Gohan's adapted it. Yes,
unquestionably.
Yeah, Linden Films, who did Tokyo Revengers, just goes for quantity over quality. Like, between this and last season, they put out 7 shows.
Yeah,
like they just put out like so much stuff, and it all looks so standard, and which is fine, whatever. But I think I went into this with high expectations because so many of the manga readers adore this show.
Yeah,
and I can see why you get this whole like travel back in time gimmick, which is always kind of interesting because we can all in our own heads like visualize, oh, if I could do it over again, how would I change things?
Yeah.
But I think the problems I had more than the visuals was just like every time the main character was like, oh, the only girlfriend I've ever had, the only one in 12 years.
Yeah.
I've only had one girlfriend, this one, and she's dead. And I'm like, okay, we got it. And it's like constantly hand holding you. Like there's a scene where like they go back to the future, and
did I ever tell you about my dead girlfriend?
They're like, yeah, exactly. But then they're like, hey, do you remember the time I told you the date, which was 20 seconds ago in the show? And then they do the flashback. It's like, I just saw that. Like, I don't need to like, I just feel like the manga is the better avenue from what I've seen so far. But I'm hoping it will, as I'm expecting it to pick up and become an interesting story. I just don't know if the anime is the way to consume it.
I just thought of this. I want, like in long-running manga, sometimes One Piece will have a character reappear, and they'll have a little box at the bottom that says, first introduced in chapter this. They should have that in anime. Instead of showing flashbacks, just a little box that says, this was mentioned here and here, at this time code, episode 2.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I just finished watching a show where they, like, oh, it was Yashahime. Did you guys watch the Inuyasha sequel thing?
I saw the first few episodes of it. I'm a big Inuyasha fan.
For this almost entire season, every time a character like showed up, they like gave it like its name again. Like you weren't following the series. And like, yes, I get it. It is for children. They're trying to keep people with it. If you miss an episode,
they're banking on people who aren't watching it every single week. Like My Hero Academia does that now.
Like imagine in fucking Boruto, Naruto shows up and they say, "This is Naruto."
No, it's Boruto's dad.
This is Boruto's dad. Yeah,
Naruto,
exactly.
who did this, and this.
And it's just like, okay, like I get you got to respect the attention span of your audience.
Yeah,
but
I see what you're saying.
Little things like that was just like, okay, I get it. Is this supposed to be a mature, gritty story? I'm not sure, but treat the audience as such. So I'll keep watching it because it is a mystery. It is a time travel thing. So inherently it has some value in that, but I'm iffy on it. And it's 24 episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
It's a 2-course show.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Yeah, same here. Like nothing to say. It's just okay, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm sure some manga readers will like apologize for it. But... And then the last non-sequel we have is this is the one that I really wanted to watch and then just didn't get time for. But this is an original anime by Studio Wit and the author of Re:Zero. Ooh. It's called Vivi, Fluorite Eyes Song.
Probably one of the worst titles, but this is good. This is a good show.
It's something about AI, right?
Yeah, so it is the story of a like one of the first robot idols, I guess, in this world, who is a like autonomous humanoid who sings at like a Disney World type thing, like a weird, beautiful version of a Chuck E. Cheese, Five Nights at Freddy's like attraction thing. And essentially she gets pulled into this 100-year plan to save the world from like future destruction by jumping through time and saving people, or, you know, having to do something to prevent the downfall of humanity. And
luck.
I had super high expectations going into this. Yeah, this is what studio. I mean, even when they make like Rolling Girls or Ancient Magus Bride, like even when they're just doing like an all right story, like they put everything into it, and it is no exception here. The show looks amazing.
I take offense to you saying that Ancient Magus Bride is just an all-right story, by the way.
It's I'm sorry.
I love that.
They're a source reader, yeah.
Ooh, well, there you go. That's I take it all back. So essentially, this show, I don't know who else has seen it, starts with an almost like Ghost in the Shell like creation process as they like tell the history of like AI creation in this world, and I think it nails the technological aspect. It's solid. It's simple. I like just it has a very practical sense in a lot of times, like. You know, the keep out like partition tape you see like police put up, like that's automatically created by like streetlights during an emergency. Like little things like that is really what sells me.
I love stuff like that.
And there's this like insistent of the main character, the titular Vivi, who's always like, I want to sing with all my heart and sing with all my heart to make everyone happy, and with all my heart I will sing. And it's like it would be super irritating and bothersome if not for the fact that she is an AI and has no heart, and that's like the whole shtick of it. But overall, this feels like Nier Automata, like the carnival scene mixed with like Violet Evergarden, and it's got a lot of potential. I'm expecting it to get dark and gritty. They've been releasing a ton of episodes. I think 5 have come out already.
Oh wow.
I'm not up to date, but it
5 came out today. Wow.
Shit,
it will be quite a ride.
Look into.
Yeah, check it out. Not to be missed.
Yeah, that's this was the one that I really wanted to see because I'm seeing people like really gushing over this, and that's cool. Wit is kind of knocking it out of the park with their originals because they had Great Pretender last year, and now they have this. It's great to see that they're just
you love to see it
making passion projects. I think.
Well, that's what happens when you don't have to make Attack on Titan for.
Yeah, and you don't have to. you don't have that ball and chain attached to you anymore.
Exactly.
Imagine just
do what you want.
Getting to make original stuff and it's good and people like it. What a country!
Crazy. What a concept.
I just also love original work. I feel like when stuff is made for the medium, just exclusively, it gives a more holistic breadth of like thinking of, oh, how can we add music and sound in this type of direction, where as good as a manga is in their adaptations, there just is something special to no one has seen this work before.
Can't have people spoiling it on Twitter every week. It's great.
That's right. All right.
Speaking of spoiling on Twitter every week.
Speaking of spoilers, speaking of things that have... My Hero Academia actually invented spoilers. Has anyone actually watched this season so far? Because I haven't.
I actually haven't,
but I have read it. 2 episodes out of guilt.
Well, I watched the first one, the recap.
Out of guilt.
The first one, aka the token recap, here's all the characters doing something.
Yeah, I would just skip that. I'm not even going to watch that this season.
It's honestly fine.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on watching this, but I saw we were doing this episode, and I was like, I might as well.
It's Hero Aka. If you like Hero Aka, keep watching it.
Yeah,
if you don't, you stopped watching it 3 seasons ago.
It's a good series. It's going to keep being good. This arc, people are saying, is a bit of a slowdown. Well, certainly a slowdown in...
I cannot trust source readers because they said season 4 was going to be where the manga falls apart. That's my favorite season. Season 4 is awesome.
Season 4 is great.
As Sha told me back when that stuff was happening in the manga, you know it's good because the Hero Aka fans don't like it.
Probably.
I'm a Hero Aka fan and I do like it. Oh no, maybe I'm not a real Hero Aka fan.
And so far this anime season, this season has a significantly lower score on my anime list, which could just be kids on my anime list because that's the thing.
Honestly,
I don't know.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. I feel like it's kinda not as impressive visually as it once was. The anime could just be.
I
could
mean,
be COVID.
most people
Could
agree
be
with that.
COVID.
Because I think the main staff is working on the
I
movies
feel
now,
like
which is
it's
annoying.
lost a lot of polish, and honestly, I would just rather keep reading it because the manga is so fucking gorgeous. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how you draw that well. It makes no sense to me. Like the rendering of these 2D characters in 3-dimensional space, the way he draws heads at more than like 1 or 2, 3 different angles. He's such a master of his craft. I love it so much. And the anime just doesn't convey that as well anymore, sadly.
I mean, it's been, like 100 episodes almost? Like, as much as I like how Bones has, like, very much segmented the story to help, like, keep the filler away and try to keep the quality up, like, that is a long time to be sticking with it, and you're going to expect those dips here and there. So I think you guys said it best. It's more Hiroaka. You already have an opinion on this.
If you're at this point of Hiroaka, you've probably already watched season 4. If you haven't switched to the manga, then just watch this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like more of a training arc kind of season, but that's great too. There's a lot of character stuff. It's wonderful.
What arc in My Hero Academia is not a
The
training arc?
last one, season 4,
Seriously?
wasn't a fucking training arc.
If,
It was a raid.
I mean, my favorite episode of Hiroaka of all time, by far, is when they just go around looking at the different rooms that they have. And you see how they're decorated. Like, you learn so much, and you can see their characters
that intimate,
in how they've decorated. It's
those
amazing.
intimate moments where you get to know them as like people.
I don't care about the fights or the
And that's
punching.
why the next
That's
arc
not
is
what I
gonna
come to
be
it for.
fucking incredible too, because it's My Villain Academia. Coming up, season 6.
My Hero Academia Black.
Exactly,
That's
Code
the,
Black, and that like
Code Black,
that's
yes,
like
thank you.
everybody's favorite arc of the manga because it's so different and it's really good.
Awesome.
yeah. All right. Well, the next sequel, I think only Panic is watching.
I'll make
this.
it quick. It is
How to Not Summon a Demon Lord Omega.
season 2.
Why did this get a second season?
Because titties.
Where's Konosuba season
Because
3?
money and merchandise and big elf titties. It is dumb fun, isekai, harem, trash. That is all it is. No more, no less.
Okay, next show.
Do you like lewd elves in an isekai setting with big dick power moves and magic? Then this is
Not
for
really.
you. There you
Okay,
go.
that's why
He
I don't
fingers
like
a cat girl in season 1.
That's pretty hot.
Sold.
The cat girl is more hot. All right, next show, Nomad, Megalo Box 2.
Nomad, bro.
Fuck yeah.
Probably the most unnecessary sequel of all time.
And yet,
somehow this is actually good.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a follow-up.
I thought that as well. But then again, I was thinking, like, we never really needed season 1. Like, who asked for, like, the spiritual successor to Ashita no Joe? Like, no one was clamoring for that.
At least a slippery slope of arguing, because who really asked for 99% of seasonals?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, sure, season 1 ended fine, and season 2 is like, no, we have more of this story to tell, and it's been good. Like, Joe is back as a bushy tanuki. He's got, like, a handful of drugs and a head full of delusions, and he's just gonna, like, go on another, like, Latin-inspired jaunt through, like, this seedy boxing underbelly, and I'm in.
Yes.
Like, the fights, the music, like, the wolf symbolism, like, it's all here. It's scratching the itch. I'm feeling it. I didn't need
The
season
Latin
2,
American
but I'm glad it's
soundtrack,
here. Oh, so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And it's dark.
Yeah, it's like an addiction
really
and falling
dark.
from
This is-
grace.
yeah.
And
It like picks up on like the first season ends with Joe as like the champion and shit, and it's super hype and everything is good, and then we get like
Punish
this
Joe.
kind of nebulously long, like it feels like at least 10 or 15 year long time skip, and we come back and he's like addicted to painkillers.
And he has the weirdest beard. It is so flat and just
he has
painted
a
to his
weird-
face.
very strange beard.
There's
Yeah.
no depth
Has he
to it
ever
at all.
smiled at
I
all?
don't
In any single episode, has he ever
yes,
smiled?
he has absolutely smirked.
Okay, maybe. Nagatoro, you've got company.
Hell yeah.
Lol.
I really, really, really liked the first season of this. The soundtrack was so good. I loved the fights. I liked the characters a lot. I loved that they went out of their way to make it look old as fuck.
Yeah.
Like that whole draw it in 1080p, scale it down, scale it back up to just like make it look like ass. It's great.
Megalo Box was kind of a weird show for me in that I really liked it, but I couldn't really tell you why.
No, it's just it has a lot of good standout moments. Like when the punches land, they're like,
Yeah.
God, yes, they
Yeah.
did it. And now
I
It was
genuinely
a show that cultivated a strong aesthetic and had good moments. And it seems so far like season 2 has taken that like a good starting position and just ramped up. I've been enthralled for every second of the show so far.
and he's back to fighting with gears, which is so
Yeah.
strange because that was like his whole shtick in the first one. But now
Right.
it's
And then
like he doesn't care about
his gear
standing
gets
out.
like stolen and scrapped. And there's a bit where he's like gonna have to get a new gear and has like the sad like inner trauma voice.
Well, it was
That's
also
like-
like it was.
You're not good enough to go without it.
It was
anymore.
not his choice to not use the gear in the first one. It was like his manager being like, "This is your shtick. We're gonna sell you as the
Right.
gearless fighter." And now he's like actively
Yeah.
trying to not be recognized as the champion. So he's back to using gears and he doesn't shave but he still looks like Joe. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He should shave his hair.
They did a great job aging him
Yeah.
up with the design too. It's like
Yeah.
very recognizably the same guy but older. And that's harder to do than you would think.
Yeah, it's really good. I feel like it's a fresh take on that story. I haven't seen all the Rocky movies, but isn't there one where this is kind of what happens? He's like down in the dumps. He's back in Philadelphia, just like down on his luck, fighting his way back up again.
I don't think so.
Isn't that one of them? I feel like there's 6 movies. There's got to
Is
be
the-
one.
Well, the first Rocky is the gritty one.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just like escalates in ridiculousness until he like wins the Cold War in the boxing ring and has
God,
a robot butler.
I love when Russians just punch really hard and the numbers go astronomical. That's the best scene.
Must break you.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited for the rest of this show.
I actually am, yeah. Like I said, it was an unnecessary sequel, but it's almost like having the first season, it kind of like the first season existed because it was a 50th anniversary of Ashita no Joe. I guess they just made it to celebrate that. And I feel like with that out of the way, like now that they know that they have an established audience, they can just, it feels like they wanted to push the envelope or like push their boundaries more of like, okay, like we know people will watch this show. Now we can, like, we don't have to worry about impressing people. Now we can just make what we want. So that's
Right.
So the first episode was like way more artistic than you would expect from like an action show. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't normally get away with doing that in a brand new action show. But again, you have an established audience, and I thought that was really cool. And
Yeah,
the way
I think you nailed it there, Moz. Like the
Yeah.
first season felt like they were trying to be cool. This season feels like they have something to say.
yeah, and like in particular, the way like we said, it's a lot more dark. They're touching on some really serious issues like immigration and drug use, and like the way like this has probably the most. I'm like, I can't speak for a lot of anime, but it has a really accurate depiction of like drug addiction with how Joe is addicted to these painkillers and he's actively trying to quit, and like the first episode has like 3 different times where he tries to give up, but then his dependency just creeps back in, and then
It ain't that easy.
yeah. It's some real shit, and it's like, wow. So it's something to worth looking into if you've seen the first season. I personally thought the first season was okay, and I will keep this in mind with the second season. It's the first season started off really strong and then I think faded out over time. So I'm worried that will happen again, but maybe not. Who knows?
I would believe, just from what we've seen so far, obviously, I would even say that you could probably just watch this season without watching the first one.
Probably. Yeah.
Honestly, maybe.
Yeah.
It does a really good job of because I felt like I didn't really remember a lot of the detail of the first season.
And then
completely
forgot.
I'm interested to see whatever happened to Yuri.
But this, you could totally pick this up and just be introduced to Joe as this, washed up old boxer who's, being chased by his past. And they do a good enough job of explaining what he's running from as it starts catching up with him that I feel like you don't need to have seen it before to understand.
Yeah, if someone just said, oh, he's the manifestation of his former trainer, you'd be all set. Because you wouldn't know who this one, eye patch dude is. But besides that, I agree. You could start it right up.
Mm-hmm. I also want to see what happened to that little kid from the first season.
He died.
He did? No, he didn't.
He died, yeah. Well, no, sorry. No, he didn't die.
I was going to say.
What the fuck? When?
No, the trainer is dead, but Sachio
is dead, yeah.
But
Sachio has to show up at some point.
Yeah, but Sachio for some reason blames Joe for his death, so...
Right.
Well, maybe Joe killed him.
They had a falling out. Ooh. Maybe he did, I don't know. We'll see.
Punched him to death. Pop. Anyway.
Alright, another one. It's really quick, even though this is new, but I guess it's... I don't know. What is Slime Diaries?
It's a spin-off. I am really loving it.
As a slime, yeah.
I am really loving it. It is really... It's in between the stuff in the actual show. So every episode will be set in a different point in the timeline, and it's just downtime activities in between. Planting.
So this is basically the OVA season.
Yes. It is basically just a whole core of OVAs, and it is... simply wonderful. It's a different studio, so they all look different. I much prefer these designs.
Well, it's the same studio.
Is it?
Yeah.
I assumed it was different because they look so different.
Yeah, it's 8-bit.
I just assumed it was different.
Maybe it's a different staff. I don't know.
It's a very different style anyway. They're all much
yeah, it's a different director.
Much smaller in a way. They're more compact and rounded. They have a much more cartoony design. Where the originals are very pointy, pointy chins and
so they're more legs. Chibi.
Yeah,
this
more
season?
chibi, but not fully.
Gotcha.
But it's very chill. Just oh, what should we do today? How about we plant some vegetables and we make some tea and we play with water guns and it's just really nice.
Just probably whetting the appetite for the next season coming out in the summer.
Yeah, I could watch this forever. The note I have for it is if the original show is Civilization, this is Animal Crossing. It's not really important what happens. They just they just live in their town and hang out.
Vibing, if you will.
They're just vibing. The brothers and sisters are being brothers and sisters. People aren't dying and fighting and talking about politics. Yeah. It's just guys being dudes. What's better than this?
All right.
That's it.
Yeah. You'll know if you want to see it. All right. Final show is one of my a sequel to one of my favorite anime ever. Zombieland Saga Revenge.
They just keep coming. The Moz anime. It's just everything.
This is the Moz core anime. I freaking love Zombieland Saga. One of my favorite casts of all time. All the girls are just fantastic. Kotaro is the best boy, the greatest boy. And in the first episode, it's almost like a season happened in between these two seasons because now
everything
suddenly
just went to shit.
We missed an OVA. We missed one OVA of the destruction arc.
Yeah, because now he's totally miserable, but still also completely hilarious, and it's just the best. I love this series so much.
He looks like Eren, post-time skip Eren, with sunglasses.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Holy shit.
If you've seen season 1, you already know what you think about this. This is one of probably my favorite idol shows in recent memory. Mm-hmm. And this is, if season 1 turned it up to 11, I don't know what, I guess this is up to 12. I don't know what comes after it. It just keeps on ramping up the energy and how absurd. It's not often that you find all the best characters from one season in one show, but this is it. Everyone worth watching in anime is in this show. and it just exudes an energy from the animation and the voice acting. Like, it just feels like everyone had so much fun making it, and that is channeled into me, the viewer, and I get amped. Really... And I know I said animals were canceled, but I'm going to write if they do not dress up as animals again in some weird way. I need that in my life. I need that this year.
Yeah. We have the chicken arc to return. Yeah. The chicken arc, the farm arc. Finally, it's happening. Yeah, it's really, really fun. I was never the biggest fan of Kotaro. I find maximum output Miyano extremely aggravating. When he goes,
no, he's awesome.
When
he's amazing.
He goes full Kermit and he's just an asshole.
Extra.
Never go full Kermit. But when I have had Full Metal Jacket on my mind the last couple days, and then the episode 3, he comes in as the fucking sergeant from Full Metal Jacket, and I was sold. It was so great. Oh my god, this fucking...
I haven't even seen that episode, but... I mean, he's already the sergeant from Full Metal Jacket.
He really already is, but this time he has like the hat, and he's I don't know what I've been told. He's like shooting them with water guns. It's great. It's wonderful. I think...
Watch this show, everybody.
I think the most recent episode, I finally got a favorite who isn't like... Well, the default was Big Titty Geisha Zombie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm your... Yugiri, yeah.
Yugiri? Yeah. That was like the default. Now I think it's the boomer 80s idol, white-haired one. What's her name?
Oh, Junko?
Junko, that's right.
I thought everyone liked Saki the most. Like, everyone I see loves Saki.
She's definitely fun. She had a really good... The second episode was all about her and was really fucking good and, like, touching. But this one had the scene where Junko is, like hunting, pecking, typing on a keyboard, something into Google, like, one button at a time. Looks up, and it's on the screen. She's like, wait, what? No. Just unplugs the computer and walks away. She's so old. And then she goes on the rooftop, sings a song, the screen changes to sepia tone and 4:3 aspect ratio. She's just like the boomer zombie, and I love her.
I missed this one when season 1 was happening. I've got to catch up and watch season 1 in time.
The style is very eclectic. It changes a lot, like how big people's hands and eyes and faces are. Like sometimes their face will be like on their chin and the rest of their head is hair. It's the size of a building, just pure forehead and floofy hair and tiny little face. It's very strange in the art.
It sounds like a ton of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
We just added so many goddamn things to my watch list during this episode that I thought I could ignore, and you guys said we're good, though. I don't know if I'm going to get to it now.
I have like 4 more things to watch now.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's why this episode is so freaking long. We did it again. We made another super long episode that shouldn't have been this long.
Well, this was our last show, and we're not quite at 3 hours yet, so let's wrap up quick.
And, this was the last anime.
So as our little post show, let's do our top 5s. Top 3 is out of the question. Yeah, top 3 is out of the question. We're doing top 5.
We're gonna be here another half hour, Maz.
Oh, we didn't talk about Spider at all.
If you only have 3, you can say just 3, but
we talked about Spider in the retro of the last one. It's just more Spider. Spider keeps going on. Yeah. It's fucking great. Now Mama Spider is out on the surface. She's the size of a castle. It's great. She's fucking massive.
Right.
Oh, how do you pick 5? How do you pick just 5?
Okay, all right. Here's mine. To Your Eternity is number 1. Then Nomad. Then Pretty Boy Detective Club. Then Dynazenon. Then Mashiro no Oda.
Fuck. I have so much trouble doing this.
I'm not going to go in order. I'm going to say those Snow White Notes, To Your Eternity, Super Cub, Bakuten, and do I pick Mars Red or Odd Taxi? I'll go Odd Taxi.
Yeah, I'll probably go.
Okay.
Oh, you want to go first?
Yeah, because I've got my list. I'm going to exclude Zombieland Saga just to get have no sequel, but I'm also
no sequels in my list.
But I will include SSSS.Dynazenon, just because it's not technically a sequel, and then give me Mashiro no Oto, give me The World Ends With You, Shadow's House, and I don't know if it's Bishounen or To Your Eternity or Slime 300. Oh god, why did I say 5? I should have said 10.
The whole season is my top 10.
I'm just gonna stick to my brand and say Slime 300.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm conflicted. I will go with the sequel. I still love Spider very much.
Technically not a sequel, but fine.
Oh, that's true. It's just long. Yes. Okay, so it's not a sequel. Right. I was gonna go Odd Taxi, Slime Diaries, Dynazenon, Bishounen, and Spider. I think that's my top 5.
Shonen?
Bishounen. Pretty boy.
Bishounen, okay. Okay.
Okay.
I get you. Okay, that's it. That's the end of this episode. Thank you so much once again for listening or watching, wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, comment, subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you're not on YouTube, thank you anyway. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day or making us part of your day to listen to us and talking about all these anime. Hopefully we said what you want to hear. If not, again, just write us. Tell us what we missed. Tell us what we're wrong about. Whatever. Or you can talk to us on our social media, Twitter @Tokyo Podfathers. Join the Discord. All the links are in the description or the show notes wherever you're listening to this. Thank you guys. Thank you, Panic, Sinris, for joining me, and thank you, Mason.
Thank you, Maz.
Thank you, Mason, for joining. Where you should tell the audience where people can find you.
Oh, boy. Well, I am a member of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We've been running for a real long time. We're coming up on 600 episodes, so the best place to follow us is at AAA Podcast on Twitter, on Twitch, whatever, all those places. I'm at Macy Pacey if you want to hear terrible takes on Twitter. If you want to see how many terrible shows I've watched, you can follow me on AniList, and just whatever. Just you'll figure it out, people. Have a great day. Thanks for having me. This was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can we call upon you to do our end of season review?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. And hopefully you're looking forward to it as well, audience. Thanks.
See ya.
I almost disconnected instead of ending the call or ending the recording. Lol, that would have been awkward.
Don't end the recording. We have to sync.